All right. Party people in the base to be, vandals, and all the not safe for work people out there. This is a brand new episode of Pink Buzz. We are back with we are joined by some extra special guests this evening as well. We have the tea room with us, the wonderful tea room. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Elle, would you like to go first?
No, please, I would never take that honor from you.
Okay, my name's Tara, and hey, Cookie, and we Elle and I co-host the Tea Room out of the House of Nerd, and I obviously didn't plan anything to say. I'm sorry. I'm really happy to be here with you guys, especially for this particular episode.
Cool. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And Elle, well, she doesn't like introducing herself, so we'll just skip that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm here. I'm me.
She's a regular.
She's been here a few times, so I think people know who she is.
Expectations lowered.
No, not exactly.
Yeah. So how many episodes of the Tea Room are out now?
Next question.
Two or three?
2.5.
2.5? Okay. Yeah. But that's not a live stream, though. You guys you record it and then drop it, right?
Yeah,
Right.
we try to do live premiere but it's like live premiere is super awkward, huh? Because it's like you have to watch yourself back and interact with people, and it's like,
really
ew.
hard. Yeah.
I don't want to have to listen to myself talk twice. And then, because we already recorded it, and then it live premieres. And then in order to understand what everybody in the chats are saying, you have to, like, watch the video, too. It's icky. Because I try to space out when I edit, too. Because I'm like, ugh, I said that.
Yeah.
So, like, watching it for a third time is like, ugh.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that extra time you have to go through.
Yeah.
I mean, you do mostly live stuff, so I mean, you must be used to saying stuff that you're like, oh, well, I gotta live with that now.
Oh, yeah, I could probably change the names of this, but there was somebody in the entertainment industry who I have accused of murder a few times.
Oh, yes, I know, yeah.
And they just happened to comment and send
write
a
a
message.
comment now?
They on the in our inbox on Instagram, and I was like, I freaked out. I was like, oh my god, can you edit videos after they've been live streamed on you? And I clipped the 1 second audio of me being like the murderer.
Yeah.
So
I know you mentioned it, but I think it was in the when we weren't live. I think you mentioned it here too, but we weren't live, so you were
I think
safe.
you were talking to Adrian about it, or yeah.
There's sometimes you say stuff, and it's
just off
okay.
the cusp,
Yeah. And it's crazy because Sunday mornings I'm 100% sober. So it's like, it just...
You can't even...
So I'm standing on how I feel. I really mean this. So.
Oh, well. I mean, I guess there probably aren't worse things to be accused of.
No, I'm trying to think too.
And editing Tea Room with Tara, it's so funny because the show starts off really strong, and then by the time I get to the end of our episodes editing, it's all slurring and
giggle,
not coherent sentences, and then it doesn't make any sense, just sounds, and I'm like, okay, yeah, we should have wrapped this up an hour ago.
But it's a tea room. I thought it'd be you'd be drinking tea, not booze,
Well, because it's recorded, and in the nighttime I can drink, so it's nice.
There you go. Okay.
What's wrong with putting a little whiskey in the tea, man?
So Leia Hunt to Killer. Listen, I got my kid a bunch of those sets for Christmas, and tell me why I'm the one solving all of them. She was like, I just don't feel like playing it right now. I was like, it's one player, baby. I don't need you. I'm
Are those actually pretty cool?
Agency. Yeah, some of them are. I would go with the name brand ones. I would go with the Hunt to Killer branded ones, because the ones that are just random detective boxes, or there's one at Walmart that's pretty popular about a missing or killed girl. But once you start the game, it's Romeo and Juliet, and I'm like, ew, I don't want to. So I put it back, and I was like, I'll let my kid do this one. But the other ones, the Hunt to Killer branded ones, they're original stories, and they're really cool. They even have Nancy Drew branded ones, and I think Agatha Christie-esque ones and stuff if you want to go time period. So it's cool. I'm not sponsored.
Cool. All right, so that introduces our guests in the tea room. That's not where they don't really drink tea. So Johnny, what are we doing this week?
Oh, we are talking about not safe for work books. We have quite a fun little rundown for you guys. Some really cool titles. We are going to be talking about Safe Sex from Image Comics. We're going to be talking about Cheeky, which is a Kickstarter, the Joey back by Pat and Amy Shand. We are talking about Mirka and Andolfo's Sweet Paprika. Uh, Christina Faust's Hit Me. Who does the art in that? Patricia, how do you say her last name? Petraites.
Yeah, she did the art on Chariot as well.
She did art on Chariot. She also did Brilliant Trash with Tim Seeley, which is a really good book. We're doing Faithless Part 3 by Brian Azzarello and Maria Lovett. We're going to be talking about Spectators by Brian K. Vaughan and Lovesick by Luana Veccio. So yeah, we got 7 good books to talk about, and it's quite a nice variety of not safe for work kind of on the dirtier side of things. Some of these are kind of accessible, and some of them will give you nightmares maybe. So yeah, like we got some fun stuff to go over.
No, not really any tales in this edition.
Well,
Yeah, Paprika's got a tail, dog.
Yeah.
What you talking
Yeah.
about? There's like tails all over that book.
But it's not curly. It's not curly enough for his.
No, it's not curly.
It's kind of really cartoony. It's not,
It is
Oh,
cartoony.
you like a realistic tail? Little
Yeah.
Yeah. The dog thought the tail was realistic. That's good enough.
And man, like now we're doing a not safe for work episode, and you gotta love Instagram because it's like people like I love Instagram because all it is people posting content, and you get so many people that they have their little not safe for work pages, and they post their work like Schlepzig. Richard even does some pretty risque, post some stuff every now and then. EPHK, he's a guy we've had on the show. We've backed his Kickstarter. He has a Active Measures. His XXX edition is pretty good. You have another book I backed. Well, I didn't back it back then. I bought the first volume and I backed the second volume. Is Tales to Enlighten is pretty fun. It takes some like classic characters and puts a twist on them, and that one's pretty risky too by Matt King. That actually the Kickstarter finished, and I think that book's going to be dropping soon. So anyone who backed that will be getting their copies soon. I'm assuming he must be getting almost ready to mail that stuff out. So those John Moser too. I don't know if any of you follow him on Instagram. He's a fun account to follow, and now he started his Not Safe for Work, his alternate account for that as well. So if you're into all that kind of art and stuff, those are definitely a few people you could go follow on Instagram. So, which book do you guys want to hit first?
Interesting choice of words.
Yeah, since you put it that way.
All right, segue. Pretty smooth one, actually.
Yeah.
For a change.
And then ruin it by banter.
All
right. Want
right.
to start with Cheeky since alphabetically?
Yeah.
Sure.
Just ass.
Just hello, booty.
This is Cheeky by Amy and Pat Shand. There are multiple artists, pretty much up and comers. Some really good art in it, black and white, of course, but some of them are really, really well done. And Joe, you want to intro this since you kind of introduced it?
Yeah, this was a Kickstarter that Pat Shand, well, he's probably launches a Kickstarter every month for different books. I don't know exactly how many Kickstarters he's done, but I think it's in the hundreds by now. And Cheeky is his Not Safe for Work. I think it's probably his second title he's done for that. I think he also did Thirsty, was one he did previously before this one. And I think if you backed it, you could get, as a package, you could get Thirsty along with Cheeky when you backed it. And Cheeky is basically just an anthology-style book with multiple artists that tell the different stories that are, in the end up being interconnected in either small or big ways. And there's some fun stuff, some more serious stuff, but in general, it's pretty lighthearted, and it definitely, tells a tale that sexuality should be a fun thing. People should embrace it and have fun, and not be ashamed to own their kink or their whatever. Like they should just embrace it and have fun with it. And this book definitely reflects that.
Was there anyone you identified with particularly?
The cat. I identified with the cat.
Boy, I wrote that down and I said, Joey, does your cat play voyeur?
That one was funny. There is a lot of funny ones in there.
Yeah.
Like the one where they connect because of the parody writer does that one was funny. Like the fan that the part of that story, the best part was the fan stuff was really funny.
What was the name of that again? The fanfic?
Oh shit!
I can't
Some
remember.
Batman something. What was it?
It was Batcock. I just wanted something.
Batcock.
Batcock. That's right.
Yeah.
It was Batman and the Joker, and what else was
Quinn.
it? Yeah, it was pretty funny.
With
it was
a very
good.
special hat.
And I like how they used two different artists, like the real, and then with the fanfic, they used another artist to depict the fanfic, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I like that. It was a nice touch. It was fun.
And it all connects because there's a California booty competition.
And hence the name of the book, Sneaky. Yeah. The booty contest.
Drew, when he was measuring his in the first story.
Yeah.
That's like
39 inches big for a guy's ass.
Yeah, that was funny.
Did you guys go and measure yours after reading that? You're like, I wonder, is 39?
Really?
I couldn't, because I don't have one of those tape measures for tailoring.
Yeah,
my mom,
the room kind, right?
My mom has one, but
she's gonna hide them the next time.
She's in PEI. So actually, I read the book before I went to visit my mom.
I was gonna say, what about when
I could have done it while I was there. Actually, I didn't think of it.
Now that story is where it got a little sus for me, and I was like, okay, we're getting a little step sus. It was giving a little will they won't they step siblings. And the fact that they kept reiterating, that's my stepsister, that's my step bro. And then I know a lot of step siblings and stuff, and I've just never heard anybody be like, okay, step bro, without also having sexual relations with them. And so it was really, I was like, please don't. But then again, I was like, but maybe. I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. It's nasty.
It must have been just kind of a wink at just the trash porn. Genre. Yeah, the whole genre is trash porn that's out there of that. Yeah, I'm sure that's what he was getting at, just without actually going through with it, kind of.
Yeah, nodding.
Like, this is probably how it'll really turn out, as opposed to what you watch on Pornhub.
Just tension.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Just awkwardness completely over and over again.
They go back into their separate rooms and do
solo
action.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Looking over the door. What's it called? The ring bell footage. Ugh.
The what?
Step bro coming home. Let me watch this video. Ew.
Yikes.
I felt like the dialogue sometimes, this book is definitely going to be dated. At a certain point in time, the dialogue was super trendy, current, and even passe at times. So probably in 10 years, people might read this and be like, what are they saying? None of this makes sense.
3/4 of the dialogue in books nowadays are like that for me.
Yeah.
So, I'm getting to that age now where it's like, I have to go and DM Elle or someone else that's younger to know what the fuck people are talking about. I'm like, I don't get it. She's like, it's this. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I had to send him a YouTube video of the sound of Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
I was like, what's that?
He's like, is this something the kids are saying? And I was like, no. It's the sound Megan makes.
Yeah. Well, then I saw her name, because you didn't put her name. You just put a picture of her. And I was like, the one that's in She-Hulk. And then in She-Hulk, she does it all the time nonstop, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Adrian's in the house calling us a bunch of pervs. What's up, Adrian?
I've never been accused of that.
The charges never stuck for me either, Al.
Yeah, and then when the Nebraska, I wrote Nebraska girly gym belt talking about Jessie.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, not her working her whole life to have an ass. And then
Yeah.
That was
Squat. Isn't she like doing squats and
Yeah.
shit like
Regime,
that?
yeah.
And-
mhm.
yeah. Mhm.
She was like, I hope they still like some bounce. And then when she saw Drew, and I wrote down, I am hypnotized by the jiggle. I was like, that was cute. Her meeting her match. That's cute. I
Yeah, that
guess.
was a cute like at the butt contest there.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. Because he always seemed like a nice guy that just, from the first stories, kind of third
Just
wheel,
best-friended,
kind of
Yeah.
like
Always
like,
gotten the
okay.
food.
Yeah,
Yes.
like
Yeah, exactly.
It
everyone's
made me hungry.
yeah, everyone's taking off, and he's always left like to his own devices. Like,
Yeah.
I want a friend too, and then
Right.
he ends up getting one in the end. So that's awesome.
Probably the best one, the number one butt in California.
Right.
Yeah,
The gold.
Yeah.
And then
That's
that
right.
crescendo touch.
That was I had notes about that one. I want that app when it comes out. Just saying.
Who's gonna be touching on the other side? Curious.
I don't know.
I want that app. That creeps me out. I feel like they're like, I guess, like, not to segue, but just like a wink at safe sex. Like the government is like
I was like, I wonder if that happened purposely.
getting all of your
or-
sexual history information from you using the crescendo.
at the state.
touch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I did
Hey,
just keep
Justin.
thinking. Yeah, hey Justin. I did keep thinking, like, what if we really could have music?
Oh,
that
there
express
is
that?
Candy from Real Housewives, or as
Oh, Candy made that.
Candy Burrs has a vibe. It's called a vibe, and it goes to the music you sync it to. You're gonna write it
Oh,
down.
Listen, it's just a coincidence that I'm writing notes right
Yeah,
now.
Candy Coated Nights with a K.
Thank
Okay.
you. Candy.
So
Yeah,
it
I know
works-
Candy's.
It works like those LED lights. Like it goes
Yeah,
to
to
like
the
the,
mu- to the
music, and
beat,
it just changes depending on the beat. Okay.
And you can
So-
even you can have a partner download the app too, and they can control it.
Oh, thank you. I mean,
Well, you
just
see
for the
those-
greater good.
You always see those jokes with the underwear, right? Where you go out in public and
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if people actually do that. I've seen it in like
I believe they do.
There was
Joey.
a weird
Shows and
scene
stuff.
on Real Housewives of Atlanta where like all the married couples switched controllers. And I'm like, why would you?
That sounds
Why would
like
you? That's weird.
it's
trouble.
kind of like, well, isn't it like a key party type deal?
Yes.
Throw all the controllers in a bowl and they each take one,
mighty
like from the
nervous.
70s, So then you're like, who do I match up with?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
oh, okay. It's all
They're
like
all
you
at a
don't
party?
know. Yeah,
Did
exactly.
they go home after they traded, or what happened? Do you
They
remember?
were.
Oh, I didn't
There
see
was
that
a few
episode.
couples that were like, a couple of them didn't do it, and then there was one that like accused the other one, like, I know it was you controlling him, and I'm like, okay, but you agreed to the exchange
Right?
in the first. You put on the underwear, like you can't be mad.
No, you really can't.
What Justin says it's called diet swinging.
just a swinging light.
Just light. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Key party light.
So that's weren't you saying, Johnny, that Pat Shan did some was it some
Zenoscope book.
Zenoscope books back in the day?
really?
So he has some background with some titillating titles. So
There
Yeah,
was a
he
title
probably-
in the back that sounded interesting.
Yeah, I
Coming
saved
out
that
later,
page.
private dancer.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna get that one.
Right.
Zenoscope's known for sexting up the grim characters.
Yeah.
Well, he's got another one of these coming out sometime in the next couple of months called Steamy. And it said in the back sometime at the beginning of this year he's doing another one of these. So that
So I
should be
guess-
pretty fun too.
I think it funded really fast as well. So, I mean, there's an appetite for it out there. Like Pat Kidlin did his follow-up on Kickstarter. That was Not Safe for Work for, I always forget the title of that book with
There's
Marie
nothing
Lovett.
there.
There's nothing there. They did their
Mhm.
same thing, anthology with a bunch of different artists. Same kind of similar idea to Cheeky, where it's all stories set in the same world as that from different artists, and that one funded really well too. So there's an
That one
appetite.
was not
for this.
safe for work though. That's cool.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
took that one all the way finally. It's too bad
I
they
think
didn't in the
so. It
original
seems
book.
to me it was announced as not safe for work. So And I think it's going to be released through Black Mask, I believe.
Oh, they are going to put it out too?
I think so. I saw the little logo for Black Mask, I think, through the Kickstarter when I was scrolling.
Killer.
Which is why I didn't back it. I was just going to get it when it gets released through the previews. Yeah. So, anyone else have any final comments for Cheeky?
Other than the fact that it was one of the more fun, lighthearted sort of situations.
The most accessible ones, it was one of the more accessible ones.
Yeah.
Pretty much you could recommend to anybody and not have them get a little freaked out.
Yeah, right. And I found the art fit the tone and everything. Like the art was really good. It fit the tone. Kind of like another book, if you're into like that kind of stuff, that's kind of fun but kinky, is what is it? Unpowered? Is that it? With where she gets her suit always empowered. It's called Empowered. Sorry. What's his name? Adam Warren. Empowered. It's black and white. He does like a manga style. And what it is she has a superpower, and it's her suit that gives her powers, but it's super fragile. So it tears easily. So as she's fighting crime, her suit starts getting torn up, so she's losing power. And she ends up always
sounds like a manga. Wow.
Yeah, and then there's like a demon that they trap into a belt, and the demon will, like, her and her boyfriend starts getting kinky on the couch, and then it's just a shot of the demon belt yelling at them stuff, and it's funny. It's a good book. If anyone likes that kind of stuff, like, go pick up Empowered. That's another one we could probably, if we do another episode, I recommend we should probably read that one, because that's a funny read. It's got a lot of sex, like, innuendos and stuff in it. It's fun. And he's a great artist too, so.
That's my kind of multitasking, Justin. Have fun.
Skyrim, hell yeah. Have a good one, kid.
Skyrim. Yeah, so that's another good one. Empowered is a good rec that if anyone wants to go read like more like not safe for work, stuff. That one. Yeah. All right. So what do you guys want to hit up next?
Want to keep going alphabetic or?
Sure.
All right. Next up we got Faithless 3. Why do I keep? God damn it. Faithless 3.
Not me looking at the list. Like, does Elle come after C?
But Brian Azzarello and...
Oh wait, H before it. Yeah. No, you're right. Faithless.
Yep. Faithless. Yeah. So this is one we covered. This is a follow-up book that we did cover. I think volume 1 and 2, on the first episode.
No, we just did the first one, so we could maybe. Because the second one is probably the dirtiest, but the third is definitely the most sacrilegious. Like, so.
Well, okay. I thought we did both volumes on the first episode. My bad.
No, because I don't remember talking about minstrel blood paintings and like,
I could have sworn.
Did we?
Maybe that was just in my mind.
Did we?
I thought you did.
I don't know. I have.
We talked about fluids.
Yeah.
But this is supposedly closes out the Faithless storyline. Like, I think this closes out the series, from what I've understood.
I think left it open for a fourth one about the daughter.
Yeah, it feels
maybe.
If they want to come back, there's definitely something to work with.
Yeah, because this one opens up with the narration, and you're not sure. At first, you think it's Faith who's maybe narrating, and then you come to realize it's the kid narrating all along, which was cool. It was a fun little
convention.
I won't say clever, but it was a fun little twist there that you realize after a while it's narrating, because then starts talking about parents and this and that, and this one opens up with the first issue opens pretty hard.
Yeah.
Where in the demon world, where she's I don't know if it's fantasizing or she's in a coma or anyway, it's really weird, and a lot of demon sex and demon creature sex. And,
frog nuns.
I was going to say, don't forget the frogs.
The frog nuns, yeah.
It's hard to unsee those frog nuns.
It's pretty graphic too in some.
It really is.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't pull too many punches. Like, even from the first volume, like, what was it was the the forced bro gangbang on the streets there
Yes.
had me hooked right from the first.
Yeah.
So after that, I was like,
shoot, the first
Yeah.
skeet you were in.
yeah, first issue. Yeah, I think it was what 3-4 pages in. They throw that at you. I was like, damn.
He threw that at you.
Yep, just
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. So.
For which I think it's funny because like I feel like volume 1 is like, okay, I can get into this. Like it's pretty, you could understand what's happening.
It's relatable.
Volume 2 gets a little bit like, okay, well, and then volume 3, I'm like, okay, I have to read this as though I too am unhinged.
Yes.
Because what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
to the
like-
point where I just wanted to let it wash over me, so I just assume it would make sense at some point.
Yeah, all the eroticism was really, really gory and really horrific in this one. Like they went for broke. Like they were
Very
trying to impress
visceral.
Clive Barker, I think. Type of visuals
But
in this.
Yeah, it's good where she locks herself in the room too and just drawing like
Mhm.
symbols and shit on the walls and just where you think she's gonna lose it, right? You think this is it. There's no coming back for her. Yeah, and well, anyway, you'll see if you guys read it how it ends up in the end. But like we said, they left it open ended, but I don't know if it'll just be a spin-off, maybe like you guys said, from the daughter. Like continue the story from the daughter and call it a whole nother thing. Maybe it won't even be called Faithless anymore if they continue with the story. Because maybe possibly Faith's story is done, right? And it's called Faithless because Faith is the main character. So they might even call it something entirely different if they continue. Which I would think.
I'm just kidding.
I just hope they don't call it Sally Mayless because the little girl in the that's a terrible name.
Oh gosh, that sounds like
And
a
then there's
cautionary tale.
And then there's parts in it where you're like, maybe she's been crazy all along. Because her friends
I mean, parts
They
of it
really
the
try
whole
to-
time. I'm like, maybe every page. I'm like, maybe.
yeah, because like her friends are back, and like another one had a kid, and she hasn't seen her for 7 years.
Right.
And it's all over the place. You're like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. But I think they probably did it on purpose to make you kind of as confused as maybe as she was. Like
They did a good job.
like trying to grasp reality and kind of but then sometimes it just seemed natural. Like she doesn't seem lost. Like nothing different happened. Like she just goes and sees her friend, talks to her like everything's cool and kosher, right? Like whatever, it's been a while, but let's catch up. And I don't know. It was good though. I enjoyed it. I got the connecting covers,
I remember you showing those.
the bagged,
Yeah.
So I did put them together, and I took a picture for Elle because she said
because
of her kids,
put them all together.
she couldn't pull them out and put them all together because
Did you
And,
see
the
and
rest.
I'm all for tasteful. I have Faithless covers in my room with titties and stuff, but the variant covers for 3 are just a bit much.
So
Yeah.
even-
Well, there's the one with the blood in the trees. I'm just like, dude, that's
yeah.
terrible, So like,
My
that was the
favorite,
thing
like-
about this book. Like
Yeah.
it is not safe for work, but it's not like in a hot way. Like it is.
No,
Unless
it's
you- unless-
scary.
Kind of
It's
Antichrist,
Yeah.
like Antichrist, like
Yeah,
Yeah.
it hits on some Lars Van Trier type
Yeah.
angles
Yeah.
with the
Yeah, that's
surrealism and the.
Well said.
That's my favorite, like boner ruiner thing.
Oh,
is
yeah.
I have that like Faithless 3, the Jenny Frizen. I have the CGC one, and like when people see it, they're like, "Oh, that's hot." Like that's. I'm like, that's period blood.
Just in case you're enjoying it, let me tell
Yeah,
you what
just
you're
in
looking
case
at.
you think that's hot, that's period blood, friend.
There's nothing wrong with period blood.
No, but when you're smearing it on somebody else's face, I don't know
Yeah.
if that's.
Well-
but to each their own. To
Yep.
each their own.
I've had a friend, he hooked up with a girl at a party in a dark room and
Really,
went
Joe?
down on her. And when he went
It
into the
was full
bathroom,
light.
he looked like a vampire.
Red Wings.
His fucking chin was all. He was like, man. He's like, I've never ate a pussy that tasted so good in my life.
And you know what? Kudos to her for having the pH
Right?
level to achieve that for him.
Seriously,
Yeah.
where's the Red Bull commercial
Yeah.
about that?
As Joe drinks a Red Bull.
Yeah.
Hey,
Must have been
man.
subliminal.
Our ninth grade teacher, I don't even think he was supposed to
Uh-oh.
say
I'm
that.
so scared about where this is going.
But in
please,
biology class,
Mhm.
he taught the biology class, and he told the class, he's like, sex helps get rid of period cramps. And that's what he told the whole class. And I was like, I don't know if you're supposed to be telling
Ninth graders?
ninth
that?
graders were what?
Mhm.
Ninth grade, you're about 14, 15?
Yeah, I was 14. I was a little
Yeah,
young,
so you're telling a bunch of
14,
14, 15-year-olds to have sex to get rid of period cramps. I don't know if that's...
I would like to know the teen pregnancy rates from
Yeah,
your
right.
school.
or the next PTA
probably
meeting transcript.
probably not very high, because I don't think you, like, I'm no expert, but I don't think you can get pregnant when you're in your period.
Oh
no?
yeah. Oh
Well,
no, you can't.
There's some
I
discrepancy.
hope not. Yeah,
There is like exceptions to the rule,
Mhm.
but
right,
I
'cause
mean,
they can live for 2 daes. If the
Now, what
pH is
school
right.
did y'all go to? And Cookie says her teacher said the same thing.
Interesting.
maybe of a certain age, I think teachers had more liberties to teach how they wanted without parents
Oh, yeah.
interfering.
We had to get a
I was-
permission slip to do
Yeah.
sex
Oh
ed.
yeah, I was not in that age.
See, we
I
didn't.
was-
Yeah.
I grew up in the day where parents weren't involved in any of that stuff.
No.
Like,
but
you
it
had
was
sex
abstract.
ed, and where there's no exceptions, you didn't get permission slips to get out.
No,
You know, times have changed.
totally.
Yeah. But I mean,
he just made me flash back to trading information with the boys after we had our special lessons separately.
I probably learned about sex from heavy metal. Because my dad had, like, he kept his comics in my closet, so I would
That's a
read
good
all the
reason.
ones in that specific box. Like, why you have all these books in this
Are they
box?
satisfied?
I remember
was
that's where I first saw like breasts in a comic and like vagina was heavy metal.
heavy
When I was
metal.
a kid, yeah.
It's a good
'Cause
reference point.
Heavy metal is a European comic, right?
Kind of. Like it started as a book called Metal Hurlon in
Yeah.
France, but like
France.
it got launched as a heavy metal in the U.S. and it's kind of its own thing, especially now. But like they do publish mostly translated European and Japanese comics in heavy metal. That is their bread and butter. But they do have American shit in there too.
That explains like the more mature content and stuff. Europeans
Oh,
are a little more
definitely.
open-minded and liberal about that.
I'm laughing
That's
because
cool.
you just made me think of a moment in grad school where where they were talking about ready for this, a kindergarten project where they built a life-size ovary setup so the kids could run through the fallopian tubes and
Be born
Ew.
again?
yes, basically.
I'm born twice.
Like some shit out of a Tim Burton movie, man. I
It
swear
really
to God.
does seem like it.
Who was that to benefit educational wise? Like the kindergartners or
Well, they were trying to tell us that was maybe if we were more enlightened here, that would be the way we would be approaching it and sort of naturalizing it from kindergarten up instead of making it taboo.
Did they put like a high-intensity spotlight like facing it, so when the kids run out, they're blinded by like
That would have been
the
more
light?
appropriate. All I know is that it was
Yeah.
satin, so I'm thinking.
they twist a couple of them. Have you guys ever heard of a twisted ovary?
Oh no!
Yeah. I don't know. I guess for me, I guess because I was raised like very open. My dad was like, I saw The Howling when I was like full bush, when I was a kid. My dad did not care. I remember this movie called The Gift. There was like weird, I think there was alien sex or something in there. I don't know. There was like this weird movie in the 90s with alien sex, and I'm watching it, and my dad was like, she's not going to get pregnant. And he's like, and to me, I'm just like, ew. I'm going to go to bed with nightmares. But
There's so many
I guess that's
movies
how
with
I
that
learned
movie.
aliens can't get you pregnant.
I can recognize the. I mean,
Can you trust
recognize,
Hollywood though?
Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't trust Hollywood. With
I saw Fried Berry, and like that proved that aliens can get you pregnant. You'll have a baby
Yeah,
like right
exactly.
then. Like,
There you go. That's another one. Yeah, that's definitely and progressively quick too.
yeah,
Like, it took how long for her to bear a child?
well, the exponential speed.
and then
Yeah.
it grew like to be
Gestation.
like an old ass dude, like in 2 days or something.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a weird movie. Like Fried
It
Berry
is.
is really good.
That
Okay.
whole scene is wicked. It's all right. So So how did you? Were you? We'll get back to Faithless. So did you find it a satisfying conclusion to Faithless' story, or were
It
you?
was all right. I think
Yeah.
I think Brian Azzarello needs to work on his endings. I've always thought that though. I'm a huge fan of his since 100 Bullets, but even that kind of ended a little wonky.
Yeah.
But this is a little stronger. This was pretty good. I just wish that he didn't go quite for the Rosemary's Baby thing with it, but whatever. That's what he wanted to kind of emulate. That's cool. Like he did a good job. It's a really good book. I think it'd make a really cool film or a couple films, but yeah, I think
Possibly a
they need to
trilogy.
work on the ending a little bit
Yeah.
to perfect it. I think it felt a little rushed and at the same time drawn out.
Yeah.
It's weird how it went. Like,
Yeah. I think the one main thing that maybe made it not as good as, like you guys said, they purposely left it a little open ended with the daughter and stuff. I would have loved a more conclusive ending. Like, this is it. It's done. There's nothing. There's no way you could bring another story out of this book. Like, I find it would have been more satisfying if you would have really put that period at the end and been like, that's it, done, no
pun
more.
intended. Yeah.
well, he left
Yeah,
you
'cause-
hanging with the characters too. Like, whatever happened to Poppy? Like, you know what happened to
Yeah.
Lewis. You know what happened to Faith. Poppy, you don't know. She just kind of gets her heart broken and gets left. You know, you after the scene on the train, that's it. And like, I liked Poppy.
Yeah, I wanted
Yeah.
Poppy to come
that
back
just
too.
happens sometimes, you know.
That's true, but I don't.
You leave
I
people
don't.
behind.
I
and
can
and
have
that's what I
that in
liked
real
about
life.
it. Yeah, I think that's why I liked how like open interpretation it was, open to interpretation.
Open
Because
to yeah.
just as much as there was like demons and all this other stuff, it easily could have just been, you know, like a artistic way of saying that she was sucked into this world of art, and you know she sold out basically, and then she went through whatever she went through mentally, and at the end of the day she's still just Faith, like however much that journey took her through. So I like that you could look at it like either way. It was still, I was still like scratching my head just as much from volume 1 to volume 3. But I do appreciate that it wasn't anything concrete. Like you're not telling me to feel any one type of way about any of this.
Yeah.
It's true. It's good to be able to interpret it.
It
any way
doesn't
you
work
want
with
to.
everything, but I feel like it worked for this.
Well, another thing too is I like that they didn't try to like heroize Faith. You know, she still stayed selfish and dumb and self-absorbed, but like she did learn something. She did move forward, but like she didn't become like this great person like a lot of stories like try to do. She still kind of stayed the flawed, you know, person she always was.
True. Didn't overdo the redemption arc and take away her humanity by making her perfect.
Yeah.
Because that's what I kind of liked about her, because she was so up her own ass and stuff, but like you never disliked her. I like it was pretty strong writing, because usually I kind of dislike characters that are really selfish and myopic like she is, but I thought at the same time like that's what kind of made her compelling, and especially the way they stuck with it at the end when she's talking to the daughter, and like the way that their story played out, and the way she just kind of like, yeah, it sucks, but like that's the way it had to do because that's who I am, and I'm just like, God, you really are that person, aren't you? Like that's cool that they went there, though. You know, like a lot of people, like we said, like they would try to make her like, you know, totally turn herself around and become like this heroic, you know, special person. Where at the same, and this, she just was, you know, like that person that was just all about her, you know, even to the end.
Like straight up, I'm not gonna be a good mom. Sorry.
Yeah.
Let me start paying for your therapy now.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the narration sounded like. It sounded like a therapy session, right?
Really
the whole way through. Yeah.
And you know what? Kudos to her, because I guess she did raise a narrator well enough for them to know and be coherent and aware of. You're like, what?
I was definitely interested enough in Sally Mae that if they do a book or a couple books about her, I'll read it, because like just her origin stories were very interesting and could make for a really cool character once you know like how she was created. Like I like that a lot. Like,
yeah, because she was kept away from her for how many years?
Her whole life. Like she never met her until like the end of the book.
Okay, that's it.
So she was like fully grown. She's like 20 something years old or something.
I thought you were about to say 13. I said now.
Yeah, because
fully grown at 13.
Because she doesn't even realize it till she's like, how long has it been? And like the timeline and
Yeah, she
I
doesn't
don't know.
have the
It was
same-
weird. It got like you said. It's you don't know. Like it gets confusing. Like, and I think, like we said, it was done on purpose so you could get inside her mindset of her obsession and how much time she lost through her obsession with art and stuff. That time became irrelevant, kind of like years, whether it's 7, 8, 10, 9, a week, 2 months, none of it mattered because she was so focused and obsessed with creating that she completely got lost in herself. Yeah. If this got picked up as a show, did you, while you're reading it, did you think of any like castings for any of the characters? Like, did anything pop into your head as you're reading it, or?
Did anybody else see Keith Richards now and then for
For
Lily?
For
Lucy?
the
Oh, I kind of got like a what's the not I don't know if Benicio del Toro,
Oh, I feel that.
but I also feel like it would work as like an Aeon Flux-esque animation style.
That
Yeah.
might be the safest
Adult
route.
animation. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, because if they live action
Adult
this,
Swim.
it'd be like really watered down. I think even as a show.
Yeah, I can't figure out a way to do it live action without it being just insulting.
Torture porn stuff.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Well, you could get what's her name? She's doing everything now, right? Get the one who plays Wednesday to play Faithless.
Jenny Ortega?
No, she's
Yeah,
a little too young for me.
She is a
getting-
little young.
Yeah.
Well, she was
She
in
looked-
X.
She looks like yeah, she was, but even in that, they made her wear underwear that said Sunday. Like they were playing on how young she looked.
Yeah, dude. She looks like she's like. I wouldn't want to see it really.
I know she's grown, and you know what? Kudos to her. Let her evolve into her body. But for me, I'd be like, ew, you're the little baby. She has a baby face. I don't know. She look a little too.
Yeah,
young.
but trust me, Al, that's just gonna get worse as you get older.
Yeah.
Because
That's a good point.
anyone that's like 28 and under, for me, they almost all look the same to me.
Babies,
Oh yeah, when I watch shows on Netflix now where it's like there's teens and they start to like fool around, I skip. I'm like, I don't want to see this. This is illegal. Ew.
Stupid babies. I don't want to watch
Show
it.
me adults.
Yeah.
Show
Yeah.
me some body hair.
Do they have a little bit of gray? I
Yeah.
want to see some gray.
Kind of get a little silver fox action.
Get
going
some gray in the pubes. Oh, I feel safe now.
Narcos.
I was
Season
just about to
one,
say
episode
something
2.
about Pedro. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's icky, and even on X, I'm like, I get what they were doing, like I get the trope that she was playing in the movie too, but I was just like, you're just a little baby angel, get out of here, go home while you can.
Well, she didn't get home. She got something else. All right. Yeah. All right. So does that pretty much sum up Faithless? Does anyone have any last comments for the fantastic Azzarello and LLovet book? What about her art? I've noticed like this, her art is a lot more loose in this than like, let's say her own titles, like her self-published stuff, her creator own. Like you could see the style. It's still fantastic though. I still love her art, but you could see how much looser it is in this book compared to, let's say, we were talking about it off air.
Oh, especially
like
Heartbeat.
Heartbeat,
yeah.
Heartbeat, and
Porcelain?
also Porcelain. Like those are
Porcelain,
just
yeah.
so gorgeously drawn.
Meticulous.
Yeah, and Eros and Psyche
Psyche,
was really well drawn too. That was a little closer to this. It was kind of in between the two styles, but it was. But I don't know. I think that going with the horror style, I kind of like it a little looser.
I think that's why I was like okay with it being loose interpretation, because the art style complemented that. Like everything felt surreal. Like nothing felt like set in any one particular.
And some of the stuff that they rendered, I wouldn't want to see in too much more detail, to tell you the truth. You know what I mean? Like some of the. Because the frog nuns and the stuff that was
You're not
happening
trying to see
with
the clots in the paint. I guess.
with three people behind each other and stuff. Yeah, like I understood perfectly fine what was going on. Like,
But no, I love it. Even recently, she's been doing like more covers for like DC, and I think it's amazing because I'm one thing I'm gonna do is buy a Maria Lovett cover.
Someone posted a Department of Truth?
Yeah.
Cover for issue 13, I believe.
Yeah, I have that.
And that one was really nice. That was a beautiful cover.
The one she did for Sandman. What's it called? The one that James Tynion.
Yeah,
The
the
Nightmare Country.
American Nightmare Country.
I
Yeah,
love that one.
yeah. She did issue 6, right? The interiors for issue 6.
Yeah, she did the
Yeah, yeah.
And I had just been cover collecting for that one, not all of them, just the covers that I liked. But when I was like, oh, she's doing the interiors as well, I said, I'm a fan all of a sudden.
Yeah, she's great. I love her.
Yeah, same.
Love her stuff. All right, cool. So alphabetical. So we're going to go with
Well,
Hit
I
Me
have the
Next.
alphabet. Yeah,
My favorite book of tonight.
I love that book.
I think that says a lot about your character.
Well,
AWA.
it was just the most entertaining. I don't know. I
Yeah,
just
for
really
sure.
enjoyed how punchy it was.
And the conclusion that was satisfactory.
Yes,
Yeah.
some resolution.
Love a good ending. Not a good ending, like a happy ending, but like
No,
everything
just
was wrapped
satisfying.
up, and I'm okay with how
There were
ended.
oysters eaten. Like, it was good times at the end of the book. Like,
Oysters were finally eaten. Yes.
yeah, they finally got to have their snack, which was good. And still friends, by the way, which was cool.
True.
But yeah, this one was a lot of fun, in my opinion. Like, it goes to some really uncomfortable places for me too. Like, I can't imagine doing what they do in this book because it's about this female Lulu who just enjoys being hurt. Like, that's how she feels. And
her business cards do say pain slut. Let's just be clear.
and
if I could get paid for that, I'm not
Yeah,
saying I
who
would,
knew?
but
They never mentioned that at the career centers.
At the career center. Yeah.
Lulu was also like a great protagonist. Like even though, and Christa Faust is, I don't know if she still is a sex worker, but she was a sex worker.
Yeah.
So I feel like the content was believable. Everything was like well thought out. It didn't feel like somebody just Googled like, what's a sex worker? Like it was like very much felt real for Lulu, and she's just such a great protagonist. Like she was probably one of my favorites from last year.
Yeah, and this is probably, in my opinion, Christa Faust's strongest AWA book. I really liked Bad Mother, but I think this one's even better than that one. Like this one just really kept the pace going and had really good twists to it. Like it was a little predictable, but I don't mind that in pulpy noir like this, so it was fine.
True.
Like I wouldn't even say predictable; I just say tropey in parts, which is fine.
They're satisfying tropes. I agree.
Has she worked on anything else outside of AWA? Because I only know her from her AWA books.
Hard Case Crimes. She
that's
did
right.
Peep Show or Peepland.
Charles Ardice.
Okay. Where's that? Is that a novel or is it a comic? Okay, she does have novels. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But I think she's a novelist first, and then and the art and coloring too. The bruises in this book are so pretty.
Really
the coloring on them.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
The art. I dig the artists on this one because they, like I said, they did Chariot 2, which I thought was fantastic. I really dug that one. So yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Lots of like laughs. I had a lot of laughs in this one. However unintentional it was. There was a lot of scenes where I was just like, "Come on now."
Yeah. The hook suspension, I was just like, oh my god, that's so horrible. Every time I see that, like, it creeps me out. Like when I see the killer and stuff like that, that's always off-putting to me.
Cell is one of my favorite movies, and you know how I feel about Vincent D'Onofrio. Oh. And so, let me tell you, I was like, okay, I could dig this. But, I mean, I wouldn't personally.
No.
No.
Punch me, okay, but don't hook me.
No, I could not with the hooks. And the photographs at the end, too. Let us not forget if you read it in the trade form.
Care to reenact? No, I'm just kidding.
No. Only if we're talking about Vincent D'Onofrio.
So if you read it in a trade form, does she go into much detail about, like, if these are things, just stories from people she knew, or is it like stuff she actually, did she elaborate?
She doesn't say whether it was, based on a true story, but she does talk about why she did some of what she did. Do you know what I mean? That she was trying to be true to what happened to her in terms of what she chose and the agency of the characters and all that kind of stuff. But
I know probably the rope play and stuff like that is based on, because I've seen pictures of her from her youth doing that stuff. She's very open about it on Twitter and everywhere else. So
true, she's good at transparency.
Also, Mads Mikkelsen. I don't know what her deal is with him, but she has like a Ken doll of him with a real penis on it, like a realistic. And I was like, "What is?"
I don't think I've ever
happening?
seen a Ken doll
And
with
she
a real.
props them up, and I was like, "Okay, this is a new world for me." And I've seen some things, so I wonder if that's authorized or if it's unauthorized.
It's probably black market. I don't know.
Black market.
I'm
It's
sure.
got to be, because having undressed several Barbies, let me just say, Mattel is not trying to
on
put
Etsy, like
junk.
doing a commission. Hey, so I know this is gonna sound weird.
I need you to put some junk on Ken.
Give
But
him
this
some gray
is
hair.
Where's Richard
is-
Morgan?
this
Maybe
is
we
the
gotta-
hardest that an AWA book's gone though, right? Like I haven't seen another one that's actually this.
What's the new one with the fairies?
Oh,
I think that one goes
Trojan.
pretty hard
Maryland?
too.
Trojan is about
Trojan,
snuff
yeah.
films,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that one, from what I understand, that one's going pretty hard right now too.
And it's Daniel Kraus, and basically there's like a black market where they torture and do snuff films on like the Fae.
Oh,
There's like a high market for it, and so the first one didn't get like too, I wouldn't say sexual, but it did get very uncomfortable, them exploring the different pages of like torture and stuff like that. Like even me, and I'm like, ugh. But I think I was probably like burnt out already because I had just read like Lovesick and something else, and I was just like, oh, my stomach hurts, I can't do another page. But it was but I do feel like it's going in that direction where it might be a little bit more deranged than Hit Me kind of feels a little vanilla compared.
Okay,
But-
wow.
But I don't
that's
think
saying a lot.
AWA shies away from this kind of stuff, because you had Benjamin Percy's book too, the Devil's Highway, that kind of touched on like was it human trafficking, or
It was
what was
just
the story behind
slashers
that?
on the truckers
Yeah,
that kidnapped
but
and like
torture? Yeah, like it was more than just serial killing. It was like a whole network and they just take like a cult almost, where they kidnap people and
yeah, but that's
all right,
pretty
let's have
that's
a
pretty
torture-
typical
let's have a
horror
torture
type
party.
stuff. Whereas
Yeah,
this
yeah.
one goes like really sexual, which
Yeah.
like makes it even
Yeah.
more harder. You know what I mean? Like,
This was like fun and sexy, and I think this is
Yeah.
probably the most fun, sexy book they've done. Because did they do or am I mistaken? Was that a different? Who did the infidelity one? The
yeah, the one that Goose hates. What's that one called? The one Jason
Yeah.
Starr wrote.
yeah,
Casual fling? No.
Yeah,
casual fling.
yeah. Goose hates that book.
Even that
I didn't know
book,
he
it
hated
wasn't.
Yes.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
sexy.
that's AWA. Yeah,
That
exactly.
was just
With
more
the
like a crime. Yeah.
with the artist from Hotel, right?
Yeah, Dalibor.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
how to-
yeah.
Yeah.
I like him.
This was probably the most fun I've had reading an AWA book. Out of all of their titles, and Bad Mother was cool too, like just for like a fun,
But she does
style. Yeah.
she does always put like a fun aspect or twist to her books.
Mm-hmm.
Like the subject matter is serious, but she always has a fun way of delivering it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bad Mother,
Mm-hmm.
she wants to get her daughter back, this and that, but it almost felt like Roseanne going
Yeah.
crazy, So it's kind of like,
appreciated. It was just
Yeah.
a regular schmegular mom, not like a trained operative.
no, that's it.
I
Like,
work
just
out on the
getting-
weekends, mom. I'm tired. I'm going home to drink wine.
And then Redemption was a fun, like, kind of, all right, dust off the old chaps. I got to get back into game shape, And so, I mean, it's always a fun way she delivers her stories and stuff. Like, always entertaining. It's never boring. It's never like long-winded or drawn out or, the pacing. She always has pretty good pacing with her stories, I find.
Yeah. It didn't feel like any filler or anything. It was just a solid,
Really good little 5-issue. It didn't feel rushed and it didn't feel stretched. I mean, it just was a
Sure.
perfect little,
Just right.
well-paced little book. Yeah, really hit
nice
well. And
tight arc. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they want to follow this up, but I might read another book about it if the plot sounds right.
Yeah, 'cause there's a lot of
Lulu and
characters, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
different angles you could go, even if you don't follow that specific character.
Mhm.
well,
They could always do.
I like the
Yeah.
awkward romance. I
I did
actually like
too.
the characters. You know what I mean? I thought
Yeah.
it was kind of oddly cute.
Yeah,
And
Like,
not to be
digging that
like
chemistry.
too aesthetic, but Lulu is so cute.
Yeah,
Like,
she is
love
adorable.
her. I thought she was like beautiful. I thought she was like the perfect balance of like, without it being too like, because there's like two ways you can go with the character, and I thought
Mhm.
she was like realistic enough without being like too overtly anything.
Right.
A good balance.
When she
Yeah.
did the disguises, I was obsessed. I was like, yes, have your makeover scene moment. Love a mom montage. So I really like that part. So
Cool.
Yeah, I
All
think I
right.
enjoyed it even better the second time around too.
Yeah, 'cause that came out what?
last year.
Yeah, but it came out what at the beginning? The first issue dropped
It
with
finished-
early summer, something like that. So I think it wrapped up maybe what? No more than 6 months ago, maybe.
Sounds right.
So people could probably still find the single issues if they wanted to. They're probably still kicking around in shops somewhere.
Yeah.
And I
If
think
you're-
some of like the first issue had like a Ingrid Gala cover.
It did.
Yeah, and I think that one is probably still available. I know I got mine because I was like, oh, this is gonna sell out, and it didn't. And I was like, you guys, this is so good. It's such a good cover. But you know, I've
It is
retired since then. I don't do that anymore, guys. So
If you're cheap like me, the trade's only $8.99. Never go wrong with that.
yeah, for sure.
It's decent. That's a solid price. Yeah.
And I think AWA number ones don't go over $9.99 US. Sorry, Canada. I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't buy it in trades, so I don't think I've ever bought an AWA trade. So I don't know what they go for here.
Yeah, they don't go over $10. I think that's like their thing. $9.99.
Which is good. They keep it affordable.
Mm-hmm.
Get more people to read it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
how I
some
got
almost double
into
that.
Bad Mother and
It definitely kept me around and definitely got me to buy more of their stuff. Like, probably wouldn't have checked out Zero Year and a couple of their other books if it wasn't for the price
Oh, yeah,
point.
that's true.
the first volume of Hotel. That's how I found out about that. I was at my comic shop and they had like a whole AWA $9.99 section.
Awesome. Hotels. Yeah, they got so many great titles. AWA. They're a really solid publisher. Gotta hand it to them. They've been solid. And they started up right like at the beginning of the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
and they just powered through it. And man,
you never hear any rumors about them.
no, no, you don't
Kudos to you.
Right?
Anyway.
yet.
Tomorrow a story breaks.
Gotta
Break,
put the caveat out.
We jinxed it.
Gosh, I hope not.
So Christa Faust, congrats on that book. Another solid comic. All right, so what's next up, guys? Lovesick.
Lovesick. We're going hard for this little
Well-
segment of the show. Yeah.
It actually transitions well, I think.
It actually does, yeah.
Yeah.
A little
That's
bit
it.
more of a painful hit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It went mild. Now we're going a little heavy.
Yeah, this one is truly terrifying in my opinion.
Yeah, we're about to dip into the pain part of the spectrum.
Yeah. And I mean,
You said hit me with foreplay.
yeah, this definitely dives into what do you call it? Snuff films and the dark web, which seems to be like something that's gaining popularity, I think, within the comics industry, because you had Red Room by Ed Piskor, that new one from, like you said, with the Fays getting tortured and doing snuff films. So I don't know if this is a trend or if it's just people's curiosity needs to be fed, and they're just too afraid to maybe go onto the dark web and explore themselves. So
I think it's the timing, yeah, because this originally came out on Comixology, and a couple years ago, and then Red Room came out like around, I think, a year after.
Okay.
And then what happened was like I think she got like an offer from Image, and so they pulled it off of Comixology, and I think it was only like 3 issues on Comixology.
Yeah.
It wasn't the full. And now they're giving her what, like 6 or 7?
Yeah.
And then there's 3, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We
It's
looked
3
at the
and
first 3.
and then 3, yeah.
For which we won't get into the second half, but I did feel like number 4 got a little, the territories got a little murky there, even for age-wise.
Oh, does it get even harder? Damn.
It's like it's her backstory, like go into like her backstory, and it's like the ages are kind of like, I'm kind of side-eyeing, but also I have to remember like it's not an American author, and so the ages are probably like whatever, like it's, you know. Teenagers in other countries have more liberties.
Absolutely.
Lovesick follows the story of Domino, who I'll let someone else elaborate on the story because I'll probably mess it up. It's the main character is Domino. What does she do? She's
a dominatrix.
A red room. She's a dominatrix slash snuff. It's not just dominatrix.
She's a content creator.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. She's an influencer.
Yeah.
She probably does a little ASMR, you know. She's well-rounded.
She just drives the blade a little bit at a time.
She probably started with mukbangs, you know. Like she worked her way up to snuff. Like
once you get to issue 3, I can believe the mukbang.
Yeah. So it's basically a red room. People sign up. You have. Actually, in the story itself, you get 2 factions, right? The ones who want to be the victims, and then the ones who want to
the
take her down.
incels that want to take her down. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, this book does not pull any punches on that side of it. Yeah, she really kind of doesn't pull any punches on how she feels about those type of people, which is hilarious. Like,
and then she has her. What were they called? The other girls.
The blood cells. Oh, the dolls.
The dolls, that's what they're called? The dolls? Okay, she has like her group that protects her and,
the ones that call her mother.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the only part of the book that really got me chuckling, because most of the time I'm reading it and I'm a little kind of like queasy and stuff, but when they jump out of the car with the ninja swords, I just like giggled. I was like, what the fuck? That was like the first part of the book where I was just kind of like, what? Really? That's... But like that was the one time that broke my immersion, but like all the rest of it's pretty solid. Like I don't know, the ninja swords really got me.
The incels are there, and all of a sudden, boom, the clown car. That's basically what I thought. It's like a clown car showing up. Yeah, they're all jumping out like fucking, you know.
All like 6 of them or however many she's got. Yeah.
Because I was like, where are we driving? Because I'm like, I thought it was like a compound. So I'm like, so you wouldn't like be just driving out in the wild?
Yeah, exactly.
And so it was like so then when they jumped out the car and stuff, I did think that was kind of funny.
Yeah. Did anybody else hear what's her name? Tracy Bonham, Everything's Fine during that part, or was that just me with the soundtrack?
No, I didn't get that. So that might be just you. But now I'll probably hear it now if I do a reread and it gets to that scene.
Anytime I hear Mother, I guess.
No, all I heard was like crazy circus music when they showed up in the car and jumping out and killing people.
Johnny got it in our head that the narration in the YouTube scene was like every white male content creator under 21.
That was funny.
Have you guys ever... Did you know?
That is a distinctive cadence for sure.
Yeah, somebody in the comments on that video was like, how is it robot, surfer boy, like valley girl all at the same time?
It wasn't any worse than that other one you posted. The guy who likes to look into the camera all the time.
What? Is that personal videos or?
The one that I thought the guy had autism, and you're like, no.
Oh, listen, I was telling Tara, I was like, I sent her the video, and I'm like, I'm not bullying him. No, it was funny because I posted this video, and it was like, there's like this guy on TikTok. He's a foreigner, but he makes like cringe videos where he like looks into the camera, and he does really cringy things, and he like flirts with the camera and stuff.
It's hilarious.
And Joey was like it's not nice to make fun of the victim. And I was like, I don't think he is. I think he's just cringy.
He's just cringy.
And that just was like that disconnect with you and the TikTok generation where we know it's like it's lowbrow but highbrow humor. But for like people who are just scrolling across, you're like, is he on the spectrum?
I'm sure he's on the spectrum. A high functioning autistic kid. Yeah.
No, he does cringy videos. And then I guess this song too. So like I think every like probably Black woman alive knows "Let Me Love You" by Mario, and so it was just the way he sang it. I was crying because I was singing along too. He sang the opening and the closing.
Yeah, he sang the first
and I just don't know why.
And the last verse. Yeah.
Just the first and last.
And in between, he's like taking a sip of a drink.
He's combing his hair. And I was like, no, nobody's making fun of him. We're laughing with him. Like, I was crying. I was like, this is the funniest video I've seen today.
Poor guy. Poor guy. I'm sure he just does it
on purpose. No, it's intentional.
Totally.
Yeah,
it's one of his top videos. He does that though. He flirts with the camera and like real awkwardly, and then like music will start playing.
Please don't tell me it got like a million views.
Yes.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh shit.
I think he's like German or something, but he has like a fan base in whatever country he's from for doing these like weird modeling videos.
Like where he goes to the fucking the catering table. And pretends like, oh, there's a camera.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, dude? People a million people find that entertaining.
It's not that it was I've never came across his page before, so that was like my first introduction to him. So I didn't know what to expect, and so I'm thinking, oh, it's Valentine's Day almost. He's gonna really bring it, and so I'm singing along because that's my song. And then it's his turn again. I said, what?
Oh yeah, that makes me think. Now that you mentioned Valentine's Day, I was gonna give people a disclaimer that a lot of these books probably aren't the best books if you want to pick up a book for Valentine's read with your significant other. But anyway,
you wouldn't say
there's maybe two. There's maybe a couple, but
cheeky. I don't know.
Stick with
cheeky. Yeah, cheeky would be all right.
Paprika, I feel is
sweet
cute.
paprika.
Maybe Spectators, if you can get past the opening scene, is pretty cute.
Yeah,
just hit me.
If you do
hit me, might be.
Maybe stop dating them. Red flag. Speaking of incels, but yeah, Lovesick.
Yep, Lovesick.
I love the back content in this series. I think her discussions on curiosity and the macabre rings true with a lot of us.
Absolutely.
Probably in my early 20s, before I had kids, I'll say I probably had like morbid curiosity about things where I'm open to looking at stuff and seeing stuff. But after I had my first kid, gross. No, thank you. And I learned that by watching that HBO documentary, the one about the Robin Hood, the neighborhood, the boys that went missing.
Oh, what is the name of that?
There was like a trilogy of documentaries about it on HBO.
Oh yeah.
Something lost.
And they show the footage of the police pulling the bodies out of the water, actually. And
is it Innocence Lost?
Huh? Something
is it
like
Innocence
that.
Lost? Something like that.
Shit, I better jot that down. Pat will definitely want to see that.
And when I saw that, that's when I knew something in my brain had shifted hormonally because I couldn't take it. I turned it off, and now it's like, oh, Paradise Lost, yeah, Cookie. So now
Paradise Lost. Thank you, Cookie.
Paradise okay.
Lost, yeah. And so now it's like, you know, when you're like trying to fall asleep and you think of the worst thing you've ever seen, my brain automatically goes to the boys in the underwear in the water, and I'm like, no, I'm never gonna fall asleep now. Yeah. But for sure, like I think shit, what's the name of that movie? Downloading Nancy, where it was about that. It was based on that true crime story. About it, she touched on it in Lovesick, where she basically met a guy online. She was having an affair with him, and went to him to like have him kill her, and then what happened was he accidentally killed her, like he didn't mean to, allegedly. But that's like one of my favorite movies. It's dark, and I'm sure like if people in the public were like, "You like that movie?" I'd be looked down upon. But I thought it was really, from like a mental health standpoint, like it's an excellent display.
Yeah.
What was the name of that again?
Nancy of Downloading Nancy.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where it gets complicated. Let's say for assisted suicides and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the mental health issue comes in, like if they were medicated, would they still feel this way, or if they had help? Like,
hard to
is
know.
it really because they don't want to live, or is it just because they have a condition, like
That
a
keeps
chemical
them from-
imbalance or something that keeps them from it, like getting past issues? And I don't know, like that's a very touchy situation, you know, like I could see someone who's terminal and is in a lot of pain and they don't want to suffer for the last month or 2 months of their lives, but someone who's completely healthy,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, you want, like, you really, I think you have to, like, pass, if you let people like that have assisted suicide, like, I mean, it has to be very thorough, like, if it ever became to be, yeah, you'd have to.
And this was at the like the beginnings of like IM. So like all of these messages were found on like their AIM messenger and stuff like that. And it was very much like, yeah, on paper she's asking you to do this stuff, but like once you actually cross that line, it's and this was like in the 90s too, so or early 2000s, late 90s or something. So it's like, I don't think there were like laws in place for internet stuff like that. So, but yeah, and she touches on that in the back of one of the issues of Lovesick, and even Domino, you know, fantasizing about herself being killed. That's one of her fantasies.
Yeah,
that was one of the things I was going to talk about. Is like just how how oddly she's written, but how interesting her character is, because she's so just morally, not even morally ambiguous. She's just kind of evil in her own way, but at the same time, she kind of wants to be punished for what she's done, and the way she kind of carries on about it and the way it's written down, it's very intriguing. It's like every black metal lyric I've ever read, but like compressed into a human person, or like a human character, I mean. And I kind of really dig the way that Luana Vecchio has kind of brought this monster to life, and it's a very interesting protagonist, because you never really get one that is quite on this evil scale, like, which is interesting, because you kind of root for her at the same.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and like Elle was touching on, like, when this book definitely touches on when fantasy meets reality, right? It's definitely a reoccurring theme throughout. Like even Domino herself fantasizes, and then when she comes to the reality, it's like, oh, something clicks, something kind of changes a little bit. The kid.
The kid with the eyes.
He's like, oh, I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm actually ready. And then like,
that didn't matter.
Yeah, that's it. Comforting,
Sorry,
like,
baby.
Colin,
exactly. Yeah, that's
Sorry,
like.
Colin. He looks more like a Joey, no offense, but
what?
just a sweet,
he did kind of look like a sweet Joey.
So it's really interesting in this book when the fantasy, the veil of the fantasy's gone, and you're only presented with, you're in the moment now. This is real. Like, is it really what you wanted? Like, is it? Like,
that's where I got
it's
stuck.
hard. It's hard to say, you know.
And that's where I think Domino's nature is revealed, because she could easily like be like, okay, I'm gonna give into the empath nature that's calling out to me, but she's like, sorry, bye.
Yeah.
Stabbed him to the point where nobody could eat him. Dinner ruined. Sorry.
Yeah, they're complaining about her ruining the meat.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was her way of saving him. She didn't want them to eat him, type of thing.
Yeah, that's true. She
in a weird,
him in some
like,
odd way.
disgusting way. Yeah, it was some protection.
And it's the fantasy to reality thing. Like, they use it with snuff, right? So obviously, like, I don't want to die, but it could be just as mundane as a couple, like, oh, let's explore sexuality. Like, let's change it up. Let's make it more interesting. And then you get into a situation where, okay, this fantasy, now we're going to act on it and make it a reality.
Yeah.
And like, you see, like, it could ruin couples. Like, couples can break up just because they want to, you know, spice it up and meet that next level. Like, this is where fantasy and reality, like,
collide.
And it's something you really have to think about thoroughly, and like,
so true.
All the possible outcomes, and are you ready for that, you know?
And are you ready to not unsee what you saw?
And not just act on impulse, right? Because fantasy often, it's just you're acting on impulse, like it's exciting. It's titillating. So you're just acting on an impulse where you don't sit and try to think of long term the consequences and stuff like that. And
Army
yeah.
Hammer.
Yeah.
Army
Yeah,
Hammer.
exactly.
Because I think I read this in like a Cosmopolitan when I was a kid, like a teenager, and it was like women's number one fantasy is like non-consent consent. And I'm like, is
Ooh,
that?
that's really dangerous.
Yeah. And so I just remember having that in my head, you know, growing up as
Wow.
like a teenager and stuff, that like, oh, people are into that. Like it's not passe. Like it's not like, ooh, nobody talks about that.
Right.
And so going into adulthood with that in the back of my head, the first time I saw that story
scary.
about Army Hammer, I'm like, okay, and it was a scripted event. But then it was like, but what makes it a scripted? Like, to what extent was it scripted out? Because obviously, if everything was scripted out, that takes away the element of fantasy. That takes away the element of, you know, the arousal that would come from committing that kind of act. So, yeah, Army. Working in what island is he working at now?
Yeah,
muddy waters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely murky waters when it comes to stuff like that. When you start taking fantasy and trying to apply it like into a real scenario, yeah. Cautionary
sign
tales.
A contract if you pay. So then I think that's too like on for Lovesick at least, because at the first issue there's tears. There's
but were you
tears? Yeah.
But that's where I'm saying, were you mentally apt at the time you signed it? Like, were you in? Like,
that's where I got stuck.
Or,
exactly.
Or is it at the time of death is when your mental state is so heightened that voids...
Does that void everything before?
No. Does that enable it? Because now you're not in a mental space to consent to anything.
Yeah.
So we can't stop now because you're not here. You're scared. You're just scared.
That seems to be the way they took it. Yeah.
That's the way they took it.
It's normal.
Yeah.
It's normal.
And then the pills, too, they're always popping those little L's. And so I'm curious if that's going to come into play, if that's like a seasoner, if that's something that marinates them from the inside, or a little butter packet. I don't know.
That's good. They touch on the cannibalism part of it a little bit. Yeah.
That's a butter packet.
Yeah. You know when you like inject the turkeys with
Yeah, Lovesick is definitely a twisted bag of many different things.
Really makes you think about a lot of things.
And in just 3 issues, they cover a lot of ground. Like, it covers quite a bit of story, so the pacing is really good.
And I appreciate it that it's written by a woman, because a lot of times women are not going to go there. And, the back content is excellent. Like, an excellent compliment to the main content. So,
is there any controversy around the book? I haven't really heard of any, but I was wondering if you guys know of any.
I only read about people trying to compare it to Red Room, but again, I just think the timing is off.
Okay. Well, because earlier Manny brought up Tim Vigil, which reminds me of when I was a kid, the fuss people made about Faust.
Yeah.
And how brutal that book was. But like this goes unnoticed nowadays, and like this is just almost so much worse. You know what I mean?
Do you think the fact that it's a woman that did it as opposed to a man that...
No, that should actually get people bitching more, to tell you the truth.
More, you
so
think?
It's kind of,
That's a good point.
Especially with the incel content. Yeah.
Especially with the the murder the blood cells stuff. Yeah, that should really get some...
I have seen comments from on like third-party review sites, like where they would show the issue and then people review the book, where men are kind of like, and I don't want to overgeneralize, but their usernames are mostly masculine. and they were kind of like, oh, so like this is just like like all gore and like ass and stuff, like who cares, like it's stupid. And I'm like, but I'm not even taking those seriously, because it's like you clearly weren't reading it for comprehension. So I don't even...
it's much more than gore and ass.
And I think Luana even checked somebody when the first issue came out about that on Twitter, but outside of that, I haven't seen anybody like bashing it. No.
And there's no like upright people just like upset about the subject matter. You know what I mean? Just the sexual gore of it all. That's interesting, because like this book goes so hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe it's because she's European, so they're like...
Yeah, that too, I feel, because it's translated.
People are like, she's not American, so this won't...
Is just,
it'll just go off her back like a duck, like water off a duck's back. She'll be like, whatever. People are entitled to their opinion. I don't give a shit. Move on. Next. You
Now,
know?
worst comes to worst, she just goes back home and makes comics for people that appreciate like
Yeah,
more
exactly.
mature stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's not like there's not a thriving business over there for her to go back to. Like,
True.
But I mean, but if she doesn't, I mean, if no one is coming at them when they make these things, that's why you probably don't hear it, because no one's humoring them, or when people make these comments, no one reacts, so they just disappear because there's no one to fight with. There's no
yeah,
one,
it's
to
just.
have a dispute.
Well, no,
There's no one
I'm
humoring
actually
you.
happy that the comics industry
Mhm.
has moved this far forward, though, since when I was a kid, when Faust and stuff like Howard Chakian's Black Kiss was black labeled, you know what I mean, and not sold in comic book stores, whereas now like this comes out and it's okay, stuff like Money Shot
Especially
comes
an
out and
image title and not like a more niche publisher.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, yeah, when Boom started doing Faithless, I almost flipped. I did not
Yeah.
expect when I first got those issues. I was just like, "This is a Boom book? Like,
Right.
I can't even believe this is an American comic, let alone a Boom book."
Boom
Wow.
was the first book I read outside of like licensed titles from Boom. So
Mhm.
I was like, oh, like we went from, I don't know, like Scooby Doo to this? Like, what the heck? But for
That's
sure,
a rough
because
jump.
that's because Faithless is probably like my initial introduction to Boom when I got back into comics, for sure.
Cool. So Lovesick, man. If you're sick, get this
Yeah,
book. You'll love it.
it's disturbing, but it's a lot of fun. Like
It's provocative. Yeah.
And the art, Luana is chef's kiss. I've personally bought pieces from her art shop because I just love everything she does. Bolero, the gospel and the image anthology, love
Yeah.
it, love
That's
it.
a good
Her and
step up though.
her and the
'Cause
Bolero
you
dude
said-
got a new book coming out too, right? A space horror thing. Looks like.
I don't know about that.
I know he has another book coming out called Nights Wyatt, but it's a different artist.
Okay.
But I see
That
what
might
Elle
be what I
did
was thinking
here.
of.
She quit buying variant covers to get into buying original art.
No, not original.
That's a good.
art.
That's a good.
I
that's
wish
a good
I had
upgrade.
original
That's-
art money. Just prints.
That's a good upgrade
high-class
though,
prints.
because original art won't lose value as much as like a 1 in 50 that'll drop dramatically within a year.
No, high quality prints. And for Lovesick is the only book that I'm currently still pulling, and I'm pulling all the covers. So it doesn't even it gets a little pricey because
Yeah.
ABC will be like $3.99, and then you get to D and all of a sudden it's $30.
Right.
And I said, how'd that happen? But for sure,
Whatever.
Luana is I love her work. Hope to see more from her.
Absolutely.
Especially doing the art and writing for this one. I didn't expect it. It was a great read.
Yeah. Like she's a really solid writer and artist. Like this
Absolutely.
book is very effective. The art and the story blend together perfectly. I wish she'd like give a track list to listen to that she had in mind when you read it. That'd be pretty interesting to hear what like type of music she listens to when she's writing it and drawing it.
Well, there's a
I'm
Joan
gonna-
Jett song at the beginning of issue 1.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a little shade at Image here.
What?
Because they made her take it off Comixology when they signed. So I'm gonna throw a little bit of a little shade at that Image.
Well, that's so she could make as much money as possible when it releases that image. Like it's
Yeah,
a
I
smart
guess, but
business
still.
move. If people know
Yeah.
that it's coming out and they could go buy it really cheap for digital, like that.
Dark Horse didn't though. They didn't make a deal. They didn't force Comixology to take out.
That's because those books were already running as digital, and they just picked them up to sell the print copies of the trades. Man, that's a different scenario.
But what they could have
like
done
Image does that with digital comics too.
But what Dark Horse could have done is when they signed that contract with Comixology, they could have said stays up on Comixology until the print release, and then you pull it. Right? They could have done that and left it up, but they didn't. They're like, okay, So anyway, I'm just trying to poke a little bit,
But also, Luana, shout out to her because she let us read it 3 months. Like, you got to read the whole
in
arc.
advance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was like, so it was funny because so finally when number 3 came out, I'm like, number 3. And then when 4 came out, I was like, oh, and new content. I'm a peasant again because I have to read it with the commoners.
The commoners.
No, but
Just
I
reach out,
love
man.
it.
Reach out to her and
Number
get
4, I'm shy. But yeah, number 4 is I really enjoyed it. I like the direction it's going. So I'm excited to finish off this arc.
Cool. So that's Lovesick. So next up, what do we got going on here? It'd be Safe Sex.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Safe Sex Volume 2.
With the Tula Latte cover. Nice.
Yeah. Ooh.
That's a pretty sweet cover.
Yeah, it is.
All right, I'll let let's
Let Elle intro it?
to Elle. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Elle has a long-standing history with this book.
Here we go. Safe Sex Volume 2, Terms of Service. Tina Horn, G. Romero Johnson, and Steve Wands. So it's like the 2030s. There's a religious right organization called The Party. They're policing sexuality. Basically, unless you're, what's a good word? Conjugating for the purposes of family reasons, it's like frowned upon. So unless you're making your husband happy, get out of here. There's none of that stuff.
And you got to do paperwork after,
Yes.
even if you are married.
We
So
need to know the deets, please.
Extra. Yeah.
Then there's this collective called the Dirty Mind, and they're a secret, in quotations, bathhouse, but it's just like a sex club. Everything goes, no rules. And you have like this group of people who are like friends of the collective, and then there are the opposite, who you have the leader, like what is she, like the president?
Can't remember her title, but yeah, basically.
Yeah, there's a pleasure center, where basically they send people to be like rebirthed, in so many words, into the righteous light, if you will. And there's an evil gay scientist. I'm not just saying that to say it. That's literally how he's described.
Yeah.
There's an evil gay scientist who's like implanting chips in people's heads so they don't feel pleasure or pain.
Yeah, which
An
is really...
evil traitor gay scientist.
He is something
traitor
like
being the key part. Yeah.
But I will say this, like, so basically it's just like some of the characters. This is volume 2, so some of the cast are trying to get back home, and some of them are trying to break in to get those people out. And I will say that the Dr. Powell, the evil traitor gay scientist, he says something that probably has made me giggle throughout all the ages, and it's the interrupted orgasm being called a cummy ache. It's one of the greatest things. But y'all, I'm gonna be 100% real with you. I did back this Kickstarter when it first launched. I was a big fan of the first arc. Big fan. Like, I bought merch off of the website. I have the Dirty Mind hoodie. I have the beanies. I have necklaces, like stripper necklaces that say your name on it. I was obsessed.
Oh my god.
But what happened was this second art has a new artist on it, and the art for me
very different.
Is a big miss, and it just turned it from tonally this adult comic into kind of like a
cartoony.
And I tried to reread it today, and now I remembered why I never finished reading it. Because I don't like the art style. And the art style is so jarring from the first arc to this one. That I couldn't get back into it. I was just like, I don't remember it being like this. Like, it was too much of a change, in my opinion.
It changed the tone completely.
Yeah.
Like, it went from being like this serious, hard-hitting story to almost like, I'll compare it to Sex Criminals.
There you go.
It felt like Sex Criminals to me.
Yeah.
Whereas the first one felt gritty, dark, super serious, tackling like really serious issues, and I had I had a hard time taking it serious on this second volume. Like you said,
even with George, with Avery's husband in the first arc, this man is tortured, mutilated. It's brutal. Even the covers for those issues are brutal. And then when I see him in this one, it's kind of like a cutesy. Like, I don't know if you guys play video games, but there's a video game called Dream Daddy, and the art kind of reminds me of the art on Dream Daddy. And
Not
it's
me
like
wanting to convert.
Well, it's like a neighborhood of like gay dads, and you play like a gay dad whose like daughter is a teenager, and you go to this neighborhood and you're just trying to find a new dream daddy. Like, you're just trying to find a new boyfriend. And this arc reminded me so much of like just like, oh yeah, I want you. Avery sent him a message like, I want you to get your dick wet, and I'm just like, hey, that's still. It just felt too fun. Like it felt too like low care. I was like,
too tossed off.
Yeah, I'm like, what? No, like get back to the tone that was in the original one. The stakes felt higher.
It was life or death, not.
And this one just like I was just it kind of felt silly.
Yeah. It's almost like following up the Batman, let's say, live action. Mm-hmm. The sequel is going to be all animated.
Mm-hmm. Or they go back to Joel Schumacher style. Yeah, like back to the neon lights and nipples.
I don't.
hard nipples.
It's like it completely detaches itself from the first part. Like and it's so pieces, jarring that it's so jarring the change in tone of the art. And I'm not saying the art is bad. It just did not fit. It did not fit this story at all. Like it's one of those classic.
Makes it a different story.
Yeah, exactly, completely. Like I still love at the end of each chapter you have that playlist. I love that.
Oh, the playlist.
Great.
But I don't think it's still on the. I don't think it's all on the artist. So like we're saying, the writing is also super silly in this one too.
And I'll take the heat for that one. I'll absolutely speak on that because I feel like all the pieces were there, but there were some like truly eye-rolling moments at the beginning, like where the characters are like, does she know what's happening to her? To a fucking robot? Sorry. But I was just like, it's 2030. You are using sex toys and tools prior to this, before they were like illegal. And like it was just such a weird like eye roll moment for her to be like, does she know what's happening to her? Like, no, she's a sex robot. Like, chill. Like, it's not no different than like a life-size like fleshlight. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, get out of here.
God, and that sounds scary. Life-size flashlight. Sorry.
Does it?
That's like a nightmare.
I like the idea of the wet space. I like the idea of like wet wear. I thought that was like tongue in cheek. I thought that was clever. Mm-hmm. But I also was like, I didn't feel like I cared enough to catch what actually happens in the end because I just thought it was so silly, and it just felt like, I don't want to say it was like a cash grab, but also like, let's be real, I bought it because of the Tula cover. I backed it because I wanted the Tula print from the first issue, the first arc. So like I did like the first run of Safe Sex like 1,000,000%.
more. So good. So damn good that I was reading this and I was like, I was so let down.
Yeah.
So let down because I enjoyed the first one so much that it's such a drop off from the original, like the original run that, man, I don't know how.
It made me feel bad because I recommended like the first one, the first go round, and then I was like, they're gonna be like this bitch. but it was like genuinely, I can't, and I hate to say it because I do want to support, especially like women writers and LGBTQ and stuff like that. But and then there was a scene at the beginning where it felt icky because like there's water play, but it's with a hose, and she's hosing down a black woman, and I'm like, you can't. It's Black History Month. Maybe don't hose down a black presenting woman like being hung by her arms. It just felt ick. I was just like, and then it was like, then later on it was revealed it was like her day off. This is just what she does in her pastime. And I was like, no, it would have been better if at least it was her race fantasy or something. But you were just like, no, I like to do this. And so like, that was just like, I don't know. There was a few times where there were like phrases and things threw around that it felt out of place. And I was like, it feels like it was like intentionally trying to be edgy, where the first one was just edgy because it was what it was.
It just happened,
And this one felt like it was trying to top more something, calculated. But it didn't have the depth of the first run.
Yeah, like the inspiration that they had in the first one wasn't really there for this one. I'm not going to say it was a cash grab. It just seems like they weren't fully into it like they were the first one. I mean, and it wasn't even the full creative team, too, so like that is a little off-putting, too. But I'll definitely check out this writer again. I really liked I like Horn's work. I think they're pretty good.
And she does like workshops, like erotic workshops and stuff. Like I've attended some of her online she'll do like writer classes and stuff like that. And
oh, nice.
You know what? And this was her first Kickstarter too, which was I'm gonna be real, it was a shit show. It was not the best experience backing something, but she did, even with delays and all that stuff, she did come through with everything. Um, not punctually, but everything did come through eventually.
Yeah.
And so kudos to her. But also, again, what we were saying on the other episode, Joey, like, make sure I get my book before you sell it in stores.
Please.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Especially
that's
when
huge...
I'm ordering it a whole year before.
If that happens, I'll never back your Kickstarter again.
Yeah. So I kind of had that experience with this,
Yeah.
and my friends were hitting me up like, "Oh my god, did you read it? I know you loved it." And I'm like, "Read what?" Like, I didn't even know it came out already through Image because I had been waiting.
Yeah. So that was, I think it's unanimous how we're all jarring the from volume 1 to volume 2.
Yeah, it was jarring.
But cover 11 out of 10.
Right?
Tula knocked that shit out the park. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Tula
and I
don't
think
play.
maybe too that set like a expectation for the art on the inside, where even though I know it's a different artist, that outside art was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You did yourself a disservice.
Do you think it can survive?
No, I don't.
For a third?
No.
You think this is it, eh?
Yeah.
After this, it's pretty much that this is the nail on. Yeah.
It just felt like
even with the big cliffhanger at the end, and
you can spoil it for me. I don't know, but
which I think kind of ruined the story a little bit.
Okay. Even more. Go ahead.
Because one of the driving issues with one of the characters is she killed her girlfriend.
Yeah. Okay. I know what you're talking about.
And the big reveal, the big cliffhanger reveal twist at the end is she's not dead.
No, she's not.
And she gives the biggest, cheesiest line at the end. Oh, I love what you've done with the place after like it's been torn down and burnt. It's like, you had to go there. Yeah,
also,
you had to.
Not to nitpick, but I don't know about you guys, but when I'm looking at a scene like on a page and I see certain tools and items, I'm like, oh, this person would use that. This person would use this in this setting. I've never felt the need to deep dive people's genitalia more than in this book than any media I've ever encountered, even pornography. Because I there was one point where like there was like a Hitachi wand or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, who would use that? Because I'm looking and it doesn't look like either. Like, what was that for? And then I'm like deep diving the pages, like, oh, you have that, and you have this, and so and it doesn't take away from the story necessarily, but it is interesting that we live in a world. Not even that we live in a world, but this particular world, I felt like the first arc was clearly defined everybody, like who they are, what they are, etc. And this one felt like it unraveled a lot of the things, like even with like George and exploring his sexuality and stuff like that. I was just like, he was going so hard for Avery in the first run. It was hard for me to believe that he was like even casually flirting,
even with the message she sent. It
was weird. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah like Johnny said, maybe it was just melded in, and like, you know, maybe there was such a high demand for a second story. Mm-hmm. And it was just too popular that they're like, and maybe she just wasn't into it. Maybe she was like, I'm done with this story. I don't want to. And maybe the pressure of following it up, and
they may have had to force it.
Like somebody was like, oh yeah, that sounds like a comic book story, because that's kind of what it felt like. It felt like we got robots, we got implants, we got this, we got, and I'm just like, okay,
a crazy scientist.
Trope 1, trope 2.
Yeah. Let's throw it all in there. Yeah. So
then the latex. Are you guys getting sucked into some latex or what? How did he get put into a VR world? By having like suffocating his body with plastic.
Something about the sensory deprivation.
Like, how did that transport him into a VR world?
I don't know.
Or
there's a lot of weird.
So I was just
like when they're what is it called, the black? No.
The what space?
When they like cancel them out so people can't hear them and stuff. What's it called?
Oh, it's not blackballing, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So why can they hear each other but no one else can? Wouldn't it affect
soft band? That was it.
Yeah, band, whatever it is. Yeah. And like, why can they hear each other but no one else can hear them? It seems to me if if I'm a guard, I don't want like they're plotting against you. You can't understand what they're saying. It's just helping them. Like that part didn't make any sense to me. Like I was like, anyway, I don't know.
I like the idea of exploring a story where they talked about like giving men an outlet to like let their aggression out so that they could be better spouses. Right. I think that was like a solid like let's explore this. This particular story didn't work with that in my opinion.
No.
It was too much going on for you to properly tell that like dystopian story. Like,
well, it's because it was every guy character that they were trying to were all the same. Their afflictions were all the same. Like none of them had a different affliction. Kind of, you know, like everyone's like, oh, bitch, this and that, and then like they don't follow through. Like every guy character was like the same.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like, I don't know, it was too generalized. Like,
no, for sure, because if they had more examples of, even like, again, with going back to George, I feel like there's nothing wrong with having a character who you're gonna let like just like not emasculate in that way, just so you have like that spectrum, so we could see like where they're landing on this. But so many of the men in this book, they're either gay scientists or they're like breaking down crying because they came. You know what I mean? So it's like so there really is there's no real alpha male, and I hate to use that word, but there's no like alpha male like perspective in this, and I feel like that would have maybe rounded it out a little bit better to where we could see like there's like a stout, because even like the leader of all this is like a woman, so it's kind of like I felt like one authoritative male voice might have made it make more sense.
Be interesting to see what difference it would make. Yeah.
Not that men should be allowed to talk.
The new guy who takes over is kind of like that. He is kind of the alpha male, though.
Yeah.
King Chad.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. There's a lot of gender politics in this, and I feel like it was just too much going on to tell a coherent one story. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like throwing robots and that virtual reality, like you said, there was just too many.
Maybe there was a lot of good ideas, but they got in over their head and they tried to get it all in the couple issues spread, and it just ended up messy,
convoluted, big time. Yeah. All right. I think we've talked about this one enough. What do you guys think? You want to keep going? I think we have two better books to talk about. So, please. All right. Are we going to continue with alphabetical, or is there one you would rather keep for the end, or do you want to keep going alphabetical?
I don't care.
Yeah.
All right, alphabetical then. We'll
do you
go.
Want to end happy or sad?
Yeah. How do you want to?
They're both actually pretty happy. Like I don't know. Spectators.
What's your definition of happy?
The characters are very positive, and I'm interested in their journey. It's a bummer because there is kind of an apocalyptic thing going on, but I think that it's gonna. I don't know. I just know how Brian K. Vaughan writes. I don't think it's going to be that heavy, but we'll see. He's surprised me before, but the book seems to have a really odd tone. It goes from heavy to lighthearted, but it stays mostly lighthearted until it gut punches you, which he's known for. He does that in Saga a lot as well. So I'm not sure where he'll go. That's why I really enjoy him. He does surprise me quite a bit, even though he is kind of a safe space writer, in my opinion. Like, you're going to get like a quality book that's not going to challenge you too much. This one's probably the raciest he's got, though. I did not expect, because when I first saw like it's going to be his not safe for work book, I'm just like, oh, how bad can it get? And I won't say it gets bad. There are some pretty racy scenes, but
it's not
envelope pushing, but not in an offensive
way.
Exactly.
It's not. The story itself isn't really racy or anything, but when they do introduce like those little elements, it goes hard.
So basically,
it's very graphic. Even then, it's not even that. It's just very graphic.
Not ambiguous. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. It doesn't leave anything to the imagination. They show it all. Yeah. So the subject matter itself isn't super racy. It's just when you get into those more adult situations, it's all out there, you know.
Yeah.
So,
but also even like the initials. So, I first came across this when Substack first launched their first wave of like comic. creators, they did like this event. Like there was a week where you got like these chapters from everybody for free and et cetera, et cetera. And but Brian was like, no, this is like free to the end, like until we get to the 300 and whatever many pages.
He had us said hello with that.
And so I was like, okay, the art is like really what was like, this is fantastic. Like I'm absolutely gonna read this.
Yeah, Niko's art's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's like a turning point. Well, first of all, Brian came on. I've only read like, you know, saga and like lighter things. I haven't read anything like not safe for work. Right. So like the Pornhub on the phone, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, you really meant not safe
theater.
for work.
Yeah.
Right. So I thought it was going
right
to be like sexy. And then, you know, you're waiting for pages every week. So then a week goes by and you're like, okay, let me boot up. And then mass murder. I said, wait a minute.
Didn't see that coming.
I was here for a good time.
Yeah, you're undoing your belt, getting ready. And all of a sudden, people's brains are getting blown out. You're like, what the fuck?
You probably
like, I can maybe still do this, but then she pops out as a ghost.
Right? Then you're like, I don't know if it's right to have an erection right now. I was being like,
you're like, let me read 2 more pages.
I was thinking good feels.
Yeah. But like you said, Substack. So this is free. Anyone who wants to go read it, you can. Right now, it's still free on his Substack. Like you said, every week he puts out 2 to 3 pages, roughly. Yeah. So I think right now there's maybe 112
pages, something like that. 112.
Oh, I thought we were in the 20s. Okay.
Yeah, like around there, 120, maybe 130 pages total. Yeah. So you got a good chunk of story out there right now, and it's fantastic. Like you said,
really is
it
good.
Opens up.
Well, even where I ended off at 47, it kind of ended like at a perfect place where you could see a trade ending, where like they're at the old theater and it's like a club now, and they're just like, are we going to see what we came here to see? Which
that's right, when they go back to the Angelica, yeah,
I like it because it opens up. You're like, oh, okay, this is your main character, and then
you get introduced to Val.
Yeah, Val. Then these extremists come in, and it's like pop, pop, pop. Okay, maybe this isn't the main character. I don't know what's going on. You know, so then you're questioning it. Then all of a sudden, whoop, she comes out of her body. Then you're like, I got you. I see what's going on now. Yeah.
And it's just so jarring visually because, again, the art is beautiful. It's the
really
pages
well
are like
done.
some of the best pages I've seen in recent times. They're gorgeous art. And then to see like the annihilation, and I'm just like, it's so pretty. But also, sweet angels.
And I love how when she's alive, everything's in color. And then after she gets killed, only the spirits, the ghosts, are in color, and everything else is black and white after that. I love the way so then it's so easy for you to know when she runs into a ghost or a real person while you're reading the story, because they're color and all the living people are black and white. Instead of like the trope of like ghosts are like white or non, they don't have much so it kind of plays on the opposite, where all the ghosts are lively and colorful, and it's the real world that's dark and gloom, right? So I like that part. It was fun.
I think around launch maybe time is also when there was like a mass shooting. Well, I mean, there's mass shootings out here like every day.
Like every day,
but I think maybe it was like Uvalde or there's the grocery store one.
Oh,
so
the big
it was
ones,
like very fresh in the news, and like he even had to like address it in his newsletter that week, because he was like, I mean, hate to say it, but like shit, like it doesn't ever stop. No, so it's like, when is a good time to
release
comment
it
on it? Yeah, because it happens all the time. Yeah. And it's like unfortunate, and it's like nobody's waking up from that shit. Like it's every day.
Right.
I like the way he used it, though. I thought it was interesting to show just the randomness of death. Yeah, I think that he, like, Brian K. Vaughan's very clever. He's very witty, and like I think that he uses even stuff like that to his advantage, because I like the way he portrayed the the weird meme killer guy, like just how mindless and losery he was. There was nothing to him as a person besides
it was
the
just
internet
numbers.
culture. Yeah,
numbers. I gotta beat the number. Everything else is irrelevant. Like everyone's just numbers, nothing more.
Which we see constantly, especially with this Fortnite, Call of Duty, no shade generation.
Yeah.
But one thing I like is in Brian K. Vaughan's world goes Sir Horny.
Yeah.
Super horny.
Yes.
Yeah. And man, I don't know, we're 130 pages in, and this girl keeps getting interrupted when she's trying to get her nut off,
Oh my
man.
God,
I'm like,
could you please just
Constant
come?
coming.
just,
Yeah.
can you let her just get one off? Like,
Just
Jesus
please,
Christ.
just at least one. Yeah.
Every time she thinks she's like, all right, this is it.
She's so
This
close.
is it.
Yeah.
She's like, no, something happens. Someone shows up, another goes, just raining on her parade, you know?
So
like,
it's confirmed. Brian K. Vaughan, edgelord.
edgelord.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well, we got. Go ahead.
Yeah. Go.
Well, we got something incoming, I think, because her and Sam are looking for a threesome, or at least an event involving more than two people.
Yeah, watch. Yeah.
Because that's Val's stick. She likes to find living people about to get it on, and like she enjoys it.
Well, what was the? Because in the beginning, she's going through like surfing the Pornhub, right? When her boyfriend or whatever, the date cancels on her. She's like, ah. And that's another thing that they touch on a little bit. Well, they don't elaborate, but just chance, right? He cancels, so she gets killed, and the guy who was supposed to go on a date would have gotten murdered too, but for some reason, anyway, they don't elaborate on it. But it's just like you said, how random death is. Like it's anyway. But what was the porn that she was into? What was her kink? It wasn't threesomes.
Amateur couples reel.
Amateur reel, yeah.
But it was like a shot of the face.
He had a
she was
Charlie
getting off
horse.
on watching the face, the person's face, right?
Yeah, she was zeroing in on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dumb boyfriend gives himself a Charlie horse during sex. Yeah, some video
So
she's
she
watching.
likes embarrassing. What's it called when you?
She likes the real life stuff. She's like voyeuristic.
Yeah. It's more real though. It's not like.
I like to see the ankle
Yeah.
You know, like it's not actors pretending to,
Somebody pulling their back out, like go.
Depends on how funny it is when the guy gets the Charlie horse. If he like yells and gets up and runs around like
I can totally relate. We've all gotten a cramp, and like you're like, oh no, I'm cramping up, like
I get leg cramp or foot cramps like doing Han just sitting in my office chair, right? So sometimes
I was wondering where you were going.
A few times I'll like start to stand up and it's like, oh, we can barely hear it. It's because like I'm standing up trying not to cry because my foot is spasming. You drink some pickle juice or something.
Something fast.
Drink too much pickle juice.
What happens?
Whole separate problem.
He's like, you turn into a pickle.
You get all stiff and crunchy. Yeah, but this was great. Like when Johnny brought it up, did you mention it to him, Elle, or did you find that just on your own? Oh no, you found it. Saga.
I was reading.
Saga issue.
Oh.
Yeah.
You got the new issue of Saga.
I've never heard anybody else bring it up.
Yeah, you got super excited when he brought it up.
Yeah, because on Han, I was for like a few months. I was like constantly bringing it up, and everybody was acting like I didn't know what I was talking about, and I was like, no, it's solid, like it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
I don't check out Substack. I'm not really a fan of that format.
That was a lot of people's thing. Yeah, like it's Substack. I'm not. I'm like, but it's free. Like,
but if I knew it, I'm happy I found it. I'm happy I found it now because like reading it 100 pages at once, like that's like getting a trade. Like I really enjoyed that. If I was reading it 2 pages a week, oh, that would be so maddening,
agonizing.
Dude. And depending on how many emails you have, you could always sub to Substack for the free week and then just switch emails. And
I have to let it stack up first. Just switch emails. Yeah, I'm not thinking deviously enough.
But if people want to read this, go, but don't do the weekly post. Don't look. Because what Brian K. Vaughan does is every now and then he'll make a post where he puts all the pages together in one Substack post. Like he'll say first 100 pages. And if you click there, the PDF will have all 100 pages. Mm-hmm. So you can find it. It's a little cumbersome to try to navigate through it and find it. It can, like, you could easily miss it because there's no real... Like the search engine doesn't really work that well if you're looking for specific things. So you really have to scroll, but it's there. So you don't have to read it 2 pages at a time. You can get that one PDF and download it, and you can get like the first 100. And then he keeps adding to it every I don't know if it's at the end of every month he'll update the PDF, the big PDF, and add the pages to it or what. But because when I was scrolling through, I found it. I was reading it like week by week, and then all of a sudden I got higher up, and I was like, the 100 pages. I was like, you motherfucker. I was like, I've been fucking.
Yeah, you should prioritize that. Post it at the top. I guess that's not how Substack works, though. I guess.
Yeah, that's the issue I have with Substack, because it's really hard to find certain things, especially when it's releasing like 2 to 3 pages a week and stuff like that. It gets like real weird in the search. And then you have like, even because like I sub to like Rodney Barnes and a couple other people, and sometimes it's like really hard. Like if I forget where I'm at, it's a wrap. I cancel. Like I'll be back in a couple months when I have the time to sift through everything but. And like I did it for like I'm like one of those people, I wait for something to be finished and then I check it out. So like
binge it.
The Closet, I subbed for that week.
So I could get it. It'd be nice if, like, let's say you go to it's Exploding Giraffe, right? Brian K. Vaughan's page, Exploding Giraffe. You go there, and if you had tabs, like let's say newsletters,
that's a good point.
Then put like, let's say this is called Spectators, so it's just specifically specs, you know, so then you could weed through it a little easier.
Or even if it wasn't, the archive was numerical, because it doesn't seem to be in order a lot of times.
Yeah, true.
Even if it was just date based, that would be nice.
Who's the artist on this again?
Niko Henrichon.
Yeah. I mean,
also did Pride of Baghdad with him, like probably arguably his masterpiece. It's what most people consider his best book. So it's really cool to see this team together.
This guy needs to do a straight porn comic.
He really does.
Because he draws good dick, good pussy. Okay. I mean, and it looks good. I mean, I would read a porn comic from this dude.
Yeah, he's not a given.
Like a more colored pencil style penis.
Yeah,
and it's a little grainy, if you will.
Yeah, no, it's good. Like,
like I said, hand involuntarily making a chef's kiss.
There's like sporadically like sex scenes,
right?
But the sex scenes that are in there are like, you see penetration, you see like
it's very vivid when it happens, but it's rare in the book, which I don't know. I enjoy the narrative of the story though. It's a really neat just story about
compelling. Yeah,
it almost reflects the way they tell the story and the way they show you the sex. Like if you like being titillated, it almost reflects her, right? Because you're like, ooh, he gives you a little taste, you get excited, and then the story continues. You don't get anything. Then all of a sudden, he gives you a little more taste, and you're like, damn it, I want more. But you don't get it. Like, and the story continues. So it's kind of the way they introduce like the sex to you kind of reflects her journey too. Like she just wants more of this sex, and you don't get it either. And she wants more, and you end up wanting more because.
Well, I'm pretty sure she was able to finish off at least, because there's a 1,000-year time jump, right? I'm pretty sure like she at least found. Yeah, there was a time jump because they go into the way future.
Yeah.
Like
but I'm saying,
she's a ghost, so she could have seen lots of people have sex between that time. I don't think she just kind of like appeared in that time zone.
She doesn't though.
Yeah, we don't actually get to see it. Yeah, I hear you.
She's hunting for it because you see her. She's like, "What's on the menu tonight?" Right when they do the first time jump, and then it's the guy with the octopus robot.
Oh yeah.
She's like, "Oh, you can." She wants it. What are you doing? Then it's like he just wants to go get sucked off by his octopus robot.
Oh yeah.
I
forgot about that.
She's like, what the fuck?
That took me out because I'm like, this felt real. This felt like a true story.
It really did.
Because he knows that octo robot's gonna do him right. He's not too sure about the girl. He's like, too much.
He's trying to get he's trying to get the patent passed for it, man. That's Brian K. Vaughan's actually gonna make us real money that way.
He said there's too much room for error with a real woman. He said I need that octo.
Not room for error.
And the consent issue. Like, who knows in the future? Do they have to sign contracts before you have sex? Who knows?
With the octo, with the octo.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a movie I saw when I was a kid called Cherry 2000, where like this dude's like a robot humper. And like, if you wanted to hook up with the chick, you had to sign contracts at the bar before you went home. And
that is a fun movie.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That is a fun movie. Okay.
It is.
Well, it's a weird 80s action movie, but like there is some robot humping in it. Cherry 2000, with Melanie Griffith and Tim Thomerson. Yeah, it's a masterpiece.
It really
Cherry
is.
2000.
Yeah,
Never
Yeah.
even
gotta
heard
see
of
it.
that.
You'll like it.
Maybe I have, and I just don't recognize the
It
title.
sounds like vaguely familiar, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Man,
worth
or
a
I
rewatch.
might have read something that riffed on that idea.
You probably seen it on HBO. You just don't remember it. Like
Yeah,
back.
Probably
possibly.
so.
Yeah. So yeah, man, Spectators was. I knew nothing, and I think this is how I enjoy comics. Like I know nothing about this. I went in completely
Just blind.
cold.
Yeah, like a cold
blind,
read too.
and every page was like like fun, a surprise. I knew nothing about the story. Well, you vaguely know because it's called Spectators, so you
Right.
know there's gonna be like a voyeur element because you know it's safe for work and it's called Spectators, so you know there's gonna be some kind of
Yeah,
Not
look
safe
at
you know
that.
voyeur. What's the opposite of voyeur? Where you like to show off? That's voyeur.
Exhibitionist.
Exhibitionist.
Exhibition.
Whoa,
yeah.
Johnny, you said
Yeah.
that super fast. He was like, I'm gonna be the first one.
I was right behind you too. So I'm gonna shut up.
Exhibitionist.
Yeah, so you knew it was gonna like play on those two ideas, but yeah, never would have thought it was like a ghost story.
Never.
Yeah,
But
I had no idea
maybe-
it was gonna go that direction.
Maybe
I was
Ghost was
shocked.
like one of his favorite stories, and there's like that romantic kind of
Oh.
element to Ghost, right? Where he's
And they even referenced it. Like remember
Yeah.
when like
They
the
did.
clay.
the same-
So
yeah.
remember
clay
that?
thing?
It's the
Yeah.
opposite.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
So yeah, man, it's definitely got to recommend from me. Spectators is really good.
absolutely. I just
Yeah.
want more.
Yeah, you can't go
And-
wrong with Brian K. Vaughan, in my opinion.
This
And
is
he's
true.
he's a pretty generous creator. I have to hand it to him because he has on what's the other site that you pay what you
Panel
want?
Syndicate.
Panel Syndicate. He has some books on there too that's pay what you want. So he's pretty generous with his works. Like, I mean, so go on there. What was Private Eyes and what was the other one? He has 2 books on there, right?
Private Eye and Barrier.
Barrier were his 2 books
Yeah,
on there.
both by him and Marcos Martin. Both really
Yeah.
good, really.
Really good. Yeah, pay what you want. You can pay 50 cents, $1, whatever. I
At
mean,
least give him $3.50, man. Like, come on.
no, but I'm just saying, like, it's literally pay what you want. Like,
Yeah.
you go get the comic, then you name your price, and then you just download it.
Can't beat that.
Yeah, so that's really good. Spectator, definitely recommend. Alrighty. Any last comments before we move on to our last book?
No, I think we nailed it.
Nice. So,
No pun intended.
all right. Yeah. All right. So, last book, Sweet Paprika.
Probably the most approachable book on the list, in my opinion. I think like this is the one that like a lot of just normal people could probably get into and read. It's really
True.
cute, really cutesy. Kind of reminds me of something you'd see like as a Netflix show. Like,
Just begging for adaptation.
So, basically, it's a story of
she's a devil.
a world where devils and angels
Yeah.
coexist in a world, and she's a workaholic, very successful businesswoman, boss. Yet she has these cravings that she just never really lets herself loose, right? Because of her dad. I won't say she has daddy issues, but her upbringing
But she does.
really, yeah.
She
Yeah,
more wants
like-
to impress him than like.
Yeah.
the-
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, yeah.
It's much more of wanting
It's
to
more
be-
of like a strict upbringing where, like, she doesn't want to disappoint her father, so she
overcompensates.
She
Yeah.
overcompensates, but also
restricts herself. She like
restricts
punishes
herself. Yeah,
herself. Yeah,
restrains
she-
herself
That's it.
from things that she really loves and would like to have or enjoy, right? And that's pretty much the story. That's the driving story. And she has very high standards or an idea of what she should have and
Sort of what
like
success looks
what a
like.
partner. Yeah, exactly. So, and that's where the angel character comes in, who's just a low,
Ill.
enjoys life, just lives every moment, every second by like whatever. You know, he's just
He's
just-
like a UPS guy. He's just
yeah,
kinda,
exactly.
Yeah.
The delivery guy. Yeah,
Doing
he
his
shows up
own
at the
thing.
He's a
office.
heavenly something. Yeah.
All the girls in the office think he's hot and this and that, and she's like, "Well, he's a doofus," you know, like this and that. So, right, the writing's on the wall right from the
Yeah.
start, right?
Right.
You know
She even
that.
calls him
He
douchey.
kind
Yeah.
of uses
Yeah.
him as like a practice dummy.
Yeah.
A
Yes.
training dummy.
Exactly.
A sex
Speaking of, like,
robot.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this, well,
sure.
kind of reminded me of another 80s movie. It kind of reminded me of. Did you guys ever see Can't Buy Me Love, where like the nerdy guy
Oh,
pays
yeah.
the popular chick to like make him kind of? It kind of reminded me of that, but like a more hornier version. But like,
Dreamy when he was young. Yeah.
yeah,
And she goes
Or the
full.
remake, Nick Cannon.
Oh, did they remake that? Really?
No.
Wow. Oh.
Say it ain't so.
Nick Cannon and Christina
no.
Milian, yeah.
Not him, of all the people.
Yeah.
Nick
Sorry.
Cannon's hilarious.
His is called Can Buy Me Love,
What
right?
did 50 Cent call him? He called him legendary corny.
Damn. That's harsh, but true. Legendary.
Joe had to go adjust himself.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Joe can't take 50 picking on Nick Cannon. That just makes
That's
him
where
get
he
it.
draws the line.
The dog had opened my office door. He pushed the door open.
Oh, he heard we
Yeah.
were talking sweet paprika.
Yeah. And Andolfo has like two different styles, right? She has her more serious style, which is kind of like what you see in Mercy and some of her other books. Then she has a super cartoony style, like in this one. And
Yeah.
What's the other one with the? I think it has devils and angels in it too. Unsacred.
Unnatural?
No.
No, it is
Unholy?
unsacred.
No, yeah, it's unsacred. Yeah.
Unsacred. Like that's the style in this. It's very cartoony. It's very, like animation, like where the old cartoons when the wolf sees a hot lady and the eyes pop out, like a lot of that kind of exaggerated mannerisms and reactions.
When they get angry, their heads get all big and like
and like fire comes out of the ears or
and
it's fun. It's fun in that way.
Yeah, all the issues are out now. Is 12, and so I will say that like spoiler light, but I thought please know that I screamed when it was revealed that her dad was just a monster.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. When she saw the video, that was hilarious. Yes. Do you want some of this cocaine? Like, oh, you're having a heart attack.
Right.
Because I was concerned too. I was like, oh no, her daddy, her beloved father. And then when it was all revealed, I said, but it makes sense. He's a judge or he's a lawyer. Yeah, and I was just like, yeah, he's a deviant.
Yeah, judge. Yeah.
But that's revealed pretty early on, though, isn't it?
I think the second
issue
second
4 or 5.
Second or third.
To the end of the first arc. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's definitely
very fun.
And
great covers.
Yeah.
And the black bag covers are, I feel, tastefully nude. They're not like erotic or like inherently sexual. I thought some of the main covers were more provocative than
like where he has his face coming through her crotch.
Yes, that's please know that I bought multiple copies of that. Was a second printing of number 1, I think, or 2.
Yeah,
I bought several.
That's a good one. I like that one. Big smile on his face.
But that was definitely one where I was buying all the issues, like all the covers. Even your boy did a few of those. Sufjan, how you say his name?
What?
Please say
Sunstone guy.
Yeah. What's his?
Sayek?
Yeah, he did a few covers for it too. So.
Damn.
Yeah.
Got that tail wagging.
Yeah.
I remember Joe talking about was it issue 2 where she's going to eat the truffle before the dog gets it and like her tail's wagging really fast.
Yeah, she loves food, man. She's a foodie, so
you gotta replace that urge with something else. She
likes the ginger. She's all about the ginger, man. Yeah. And she's a really funny character, though. I really like how uptight and kind of odd she is, but she's adorable in a weird way. Yeah, like the romance in it's really cute, and I like both the male suitors too. I liked the producer guy and Dill, even though Dill kind of made it hard to like him because I kind of felt sorry for his dad. Like poor daddy, or what was his real name? Pickle.
Pickle. Yeah.
He was like that hippie biker type guy. Yeah, exactly.
But I feel like he could have easily been like an annoying best friend zone character and stuff, but even when he was like at his like most puppy dog golden retriever-ish, I was still like, but it's him, he's so cute.
Yeah, how do you pass
he's
that
trying
But I think that's a good love triangle, like romantic comedy, is where
it's true
you don't know.
You like both the characters.
You make both characters, and it's like it depends on your personality, which one you'd prefer, right? And that's what makes it a fun. Like, there's no enemies. It's just, how do you pick? You have two great guys, that's the dilemma.
They're just
And they don't
different.
even
Right,
really know
right.
they're competing too, which is
Yeah,
kind of neat.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's like
that's
that classic tropey kind of, but it's done well, right?
Mhm.
So when it's done well, then who cares, you know? So
Mhm.
in it, and it's good. And then you have all the underlying issues, like her issues, and you know, it's just fun. It was
Her
a
weird
fun book.
fantasies, yeah, are great. Like especially like how they all end with her dad showing up and yelling
Yeah.
at her.
Showing up, yeah,
Mhm.
She's another one that just can't get off all the
Mhm.
way.
can't get it. Yeah, she's right on the verge, and it's like
And
no.
then here comes Dad. Yeah.
I love when she was like trying on those clothes, and it's just like, she's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
no, everybody's gonna think I'm a whore. I'm like, you're literally in a shop where they're selling it. Like nobody's worried about you,
Seriously.
friend.
Yeah, 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 and all the women like always gossiping or talking in the
Mhm.
office, and
Hmm.
like she's got the reputation of being a prude.
Mhm.
Yeah, playing off that. Mm. And you can see she's got jealousy, right? They could be all carefree, and
Mhm.
she's all hung up with her issues, and
Relatable, mental
Yeah.
illness.
Totally.
yeah, 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 for sure. Be like, maybe success isn't the
Yeah.
The
isn't
only measure.
worth isn't worth what you have to deny yourself to get there.
Yeah. More
So.
cocaine. More penis. Daddy won't mind.
No.
Often
Daddy
one leads
understands
to the
better
other.
Right. You might actually meet up at the same drop off spot.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know.
Hey, what are you
Crossroads.
doing? I don't know. What are you doing? That
Right.
awkward moment,
Yeah.
right? Where you're like lying to each other.
We could have carpooled.
Yeah.
Right.
I think her humor is great though too. I like during the fantasy where like, oh, you're doing it with your socks on. That's almost so BDSM. I
That
thought
was hilarious.
that stuff had me rolling. Like
That scene was funny.
really good dialogue, really good back and forth between the characters. Like
Hmm.
Makes you second guess yourself and the times you wear socks.
Yeah.
That
Definitely. We switched this out because in the first Flowers of Romance, we covered
Mhm.
Unnatural, which was one of my picks, and I was like kind of disappointed with it.
Mhm.
It started off good, and then it kind of fell apart at the end, I found.
Yeah.
So we're like, we'll just switch it up. It's still a Mirka book, so we'll just switch it up with Sweet Paprika, and that's why we went with this one instead of
Because I
following
think,
up.
yeah, with Blue Blood, yeah.
Instead of following up with Blue Blood, yeah, I was like, I think that was a wise choice.
Yeah, 'cause
I
this
really
was
enjoyed
just so
this.
much fun. Yeah.
Yeah, have any of you read Blue Blood?
I haven't.
Neither have I, and I don't know if I will.
I've seen a couple covers where I was like tempted, but I was just like, but
Yeah.
I don't really have any interest. I recently read Mercy, though I had never read it before and I was
Yeah.
obsessed.
Yeah, Mercy's good.
Oh, Mercy's
Yeah.
Yeah,
really
I've been
good.
collecting that.
Really good.
Yeah.
So now Sweet Paprika's up. What's she working on now? Do you guys know? Have you heard anything? What's coming out from
I
her?
heard she's working on something because on her like Instagram and Twitter, she hasn't been posting a lot of original like new content.
Yeah.
And she's like kind of teasing like stay tuned for something.
Okay.
So
For
I'm
a drop,
assuming,
so.
yeah.
Because Sweet Paprika closed out what, a couple months ago? The
Mm-hmm.
12th issue. It just finished up this fall, beginning of winter, right?
Yeah.
Can't
Well,
remember
yeah,
the
because
exact date.
but I hope we get the like the Italian treatment because the Italian hardcover is chef's kiss beautiful. They have like the statues and all that stuff like.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, I want cool merch too, but at reasonable prices. Like,
Please.
reasonable or take Afterpay. You know what I mean? Like,
What's Afterpay?
it's like Klarna, like you pay in 4 instead of like when you go to checkout.
Oh, okay. Like they offer on Amazon sometimes if you pay with Google Pay, you can pay it in 6 payments if you use
Right.
Google Pay.
But
Okay.
Klarna and like Afterpay and stuff, they don't run your credit, so like it's just like 4 payments and
Okay.
they will put you in collections, but you know what's funny is like I'll have the money for something, but I feel better justifying a purchase if I do pay in 4. I'm like, oh, it was only
Breaking it down.
It was only
Yeah.
$25. Like, bitch, it was $100.
Right. But only $25 a month, I promise.
Yeah.
Well, when you have other bills to pay too, it makes it more manageable.
Oh,
Totally.
super. Yeah. Especially when it's like a splurge item. It just makes it easier to
Yeah.
mentally cope with.
Like you talk about like an
Agreed.
oversized hardcover. Yeah, that's
Oh, yeah.
for a 12 issue book. That'd probably run you like what $45.
American, yeah. So yeah, it's about $60 Canadian. So that sounds about right.
That's
Yeah.
about right. Yeah.
That Jeff Lemire collector's book I got for what's it called? Damn, I should remember the name of that. I spent all
Which
that money.
one?
Maze
The-
book.
Yeah, Maze book.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I got like the collector's edition with the cloth cover and the
Ooh,
hand
nice.
stitched and the signature and everything. It was like $120, but Dark Horse was like, "Hey, we have this 60/60 option." I said, "Okay."
I got that.
I got 60.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't know that they
sounds like
offered
a
the deals
smart
like
move.
that. So
Oh, on Dark Horse Direct, like the collector's website. Yeah, I don't know
that's
about the
good.
stuff.
Like,
Yeah.
as much as they ask for their books, I mean, I love Dark Horse, but they are some of the most expensive trades and hardcovers in the business. So, like, that's nice that they kind of have options now.
Oh, for
That's
sure,
cool.
yeah. Especially because I
Well,
was like, it was so pretty, I didn't want to not get it. But
Right.
60/60 I could deal with. If it was like all up front, I might have like balked at it. I would have been like, no, no, thank you.
Something about crossing that three-digit range.
Yeah. But they said 60. I said 60. That's affordable.
Yeah.
I often live in the 3-digit range
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
because of the exchange. Yeah, because of the exchange. So yeah,
Sucks.
most omnibuses are big, oversized hardcovers.
They're almost all 3 digits.
Yeah, for me, yeah. But hey, whatever. I enjoyed them. So
Yeah, it still ends up being better than the other alternatives.
Cocaine.
yeah, yeah, definitely better.
But I'd
Well,
be totally
I
down
would
if
know,
Mirka
but
did another book like this. I think
Oh,
this
for
was
sure.
Oh yeah, it was so much
because
fun.
Unsacred, that's a bunch of like shorter stories she did, like strips, right? That collected in one issue.
I didn't get to read it.
I haven't.
Oh, okay. I think that's what it is.
If
It's a
that's
bunch
what
of
it is-
shorter strip style.
Is
Yeah.
that stuff that she released in like probably in magazines in Europe that
Yeah,
they collected?
exactly. I think
Probably,
that's
yeah.
what it
over
is.
here?
I think
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Makes sense. That's cool. I always like when they put that out because that's usually some of the best work that some of those people do when they're young and hungry and really trying to show off.
Yeah, so Sweet Paprika, man. Fun. Super fun book.
Hell yeah.
Best covers last year. Super cute ones.
True.
Yeah.
Seconded.
All ranges. You can get cute. You can get sexy. You can get.
And what did you how did you feel about the 12 issues? You felt you felt it stretched or too long, or do you
I
I
think
think
no.
it told its story really
I like
well.
the
I,
pacing.
well,
Yeah.
okay.
And I think
Alright.
because everybody in the book they're so likable that it was kind of, I didn't mind even if it felt like this could have been left out or it was just nice, like
It was
to-
fun. Just
yeah.
fun enough
Yeah.
to like
Yeah.
yeah, even the subplots were good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't
Memorable.
take away from the main story at all.
Yeah, memorable and fun so that it was worth it. Yeah.
And for me, I was like, the more covers, the better. Keep going, you know? I think her art style is fantastic. And the people she
Yeah.
picked to do covers with, fantastic. So,
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's nice to see that she's people are digging her stuff.
hmm
Yeah, yeah. Because I was a little after reading. I don't know how Blue Bud. I don't know if anyone. I didn't hear anyone talk about that, so I don't know.
no. And I don't
Yeah,
even
me
know if the book's released on time because I felt like there was like this weird period where they were promoting covers for it. And then it was like months later and they were promoting the same covers like they were new. And I was like, hasn't it already come out? Like, I was super confused about the timeline on that too.
I don't know.
So-
Like maybe sometimes if it sells out and they do a second printing, but like they would probably say like this is the second printing.
Oh,
though,
these
if
were
that
like
was the case.
exclusives. Like, I was just
Okay.
like, that was because usually you don't see them unless it's like a sale. But
They
it was
come
like they were promoting it like, oh, the book is coming out. And I'm like, didn't it come out months ago? I wasn't sure. But I haven't
Hey,
heard not a
Image is
one
notorious
person-
for
yeah.
delays, and they always have been. I mean, they are getting better. Like by the month, they do get better. Like over the years, but like they are still really terrible with having their books out on time all the time. They're notorious for it, especially because like the leeway that they give their artists. Because like Mirka did most of this by herself, you know, so
Mhm.
I can understand like maybe have some delays here and there. Or no,
think-
we're not talking about dipshit, but still, Image is notorious for having delays.
I think for like if when we do another episode of this, like the Flowers of Romance, we should play a game where I don't know, Johnny. You get a copy of the Kama Sutra. You post on the screen, and we have to guess what that position is called. So we have to give our answers on what we think it's called, and then
I thought you were gonna go a different direction.
I
thought you were gonna be like reenact. Whoever whoever reenacts it the best wins.
So then whoever gives the best answer, like, kind of Johnny gets to pick who. Johnny gets to pick who gave the best answer, and if you get the right answer, then you get 2 points. You get 1 point for like best, like fun answer, and then 2 points if you give the actual correct answer. That'd be fun. Just a little fun game, just to we'll do less books and throw a game in next time.
It was funny. I played a game with Tara the other night, movie night. We were playing a game on Discord, and it was funny because I was like, Tara, do you know what you're playing right now? Because I swear her answers kept matching like the bot answers. and I was like, why are you posting bot answers? Like, are you a bot? Like, it was weird.
Welcome to my first time playing that game.
Yeah.
It was cool. Fun,
yeah. So that's
like a captcha. Are you a robot?
And she said
I
she
might
couldn't click the staircases.
Yeah. How many of these pictures have buses in them?
Yes. Sometimes I click too fast and it'll be like, wait, there's more. And
I'm
like, well, a robot wouldn't have jumped the gun.
No, I feel so
judged. I'm human.
Well, sometimes there's always that one picture that just has like in the corner.
Piece. Yeah, I click
like just a little piece,
and
like. How much percentage of a car has to be in the picture for it to be considered in the picture?
No, it's the traffic light ones. It'll be like the corner. It'll be like the corner of the traffic light.
Or like 10 miles away in the picture. You can barely see it. You know it's a traffic light, but does that count? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or there was one that was like, which ones are motorcycles? And like one of them was like, is that a motorized bike?
Right, I'm not sure.
A moped?
It looked like a bicycle with an engine on it.
A scooter? What is that thing?
Well, man, that's pretty much it. Those are our books for The Flowers of Romance Part 2. So I just want to thank Tara and Elle for coming on. Had a great time. It's always fun hanging out with you guys and joking around and,
Got any plans for a new episode of your show for the tea room?
No.
No? Never.
Stay tuned in.
In the meantime, I'm on hiatus. I'm on a little break right now. So whenever I come back, I guess we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Graham Cuddy's after you. She's cutting the screen time in the meantime. She's putting the phone in the detox box.
You'll be the first ones to get a notice.
Yeah, I needed a little break from comic booking.
Yeah. Yeah, well, hey, Menur was listening tonight. Hey, Senator Menur. Yeah.
Oh, hey,
yeah. So thanks to anyone who was watching live or catches us on the replay. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We don't ever say it, hardly ever, but like, subscribe. I guess you're supposed to say those things.
I thought you were going to say, I love you.
I know. I don't know where you're going either.
We don't ever say it, but
I guess it helps the algorithm and all that bullshit. So, man, and actually, Johnny, you're almost at almost at 900 subscribers. So, nice. Let's get 900 out of the way, right, Johnny? We're almost at 900 now. So,
I think we're like 3 away or something, right?
Yeah, subscribe to the channel, man.
Yeah,
graphic vandalism.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell you guys this sometimes, but like your dad left for cigarettes, and I don't think he's coming back. Like he's just gone.
Yeah. So thanks everyone. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and see you next time. Have a nice one.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Didn't sound convincing at all.